He walked faster and faster, actually leaving Kentsang, God Emperor, and the others behind. As expected of the reincarnation of an immortal king. Too powerful. Song Tsang said in worship. I've walked through this place before, but I can't even walk a third of it. There's the pressure of the immortal Tao. Only by condensing the immortal Tao can I walk up. Seems like I'll have to condense my Tao again before going up. The God Emperor was indeed worthy of being called an outstanding talent. After staring at the power released by Kuan Mingzi, he was enlightened. Song Tsang glanced at the God Emperor and smiled. You have such comprehension ability. No wonder you can reach the peak of the God realm. However, this is not enough. You need an immortal art. Without an immortal art, no matter how strong your comprehension ability is, your achievements are limited. The God Emperor looked at Song Tsang and said, even without the immortal art, I can still break through the shackles. He had never begged anyone in his life, so naturally, he wouldn't ask Song Tsang to give him an immortal art. When he finished speaking, Kuan Mingzi's voice rang in his ears. It was an immortal art. The God Emperor's eyes twitched, but he didn't say anything. He didn't feel very comfortable with this kind of gift, but he could only accept it silently. His former disciple had become the reincarnation of an immortal king. He should be happy, but he couldn't. He felt that Kuan Mingzi was very scheming, even more so than him. Such a person wouldn't be controlled by others. At the same time, he was also a cold and emotionless master. He didn't know if it was good or bad for his daughter to follow him. The auction of the Divine Medicine Hall had come to an end. This auction would be recorded in the annals of history. A total of 1 emperor-level creature and more than a dozen quasi-emperors had fallen. A large number of factions had chosen to become allies with the Divine Medicine Hall. The name of Divine Lord Wu Ho had also completely ascended to the most dazzling stage. He was comparable to the Emperor of Grand Harmony, the Void Emperor, and other emperor-level creatures. He wasn't an emperor, but he could create one. For countless years, there were very few people who could become emperors. Now that Yang Wu could create emperors, it would break the balance. It was like returning to the golden age of the ancient times. It could help more people become emperors, and ascending to immortality wouldn't be a problem. Everyone could vaguely see the rise of this era. Countless alchemists wanted to become Yang Wu's disciple. Unfortunately, Yang Wu wasn't interested in taking in disciples at the moment. However, this didn't stop more people from joining the Medicine God Palace. Whether it was alchemists or martial artists, the number of people increased by almost 100,000. There were also many true God-level experts and even sub-emperors. The strength of the entire Medicine God Palace had increased more than twofold. The Wu Ho Palace had selected a group of elites for their use. After Yang Wu appeared at the auction, he didn't appear in the public eye again. There were too many things he needed to do, and he didn't have time to deal with everything outside. For example, now he needed to help a sub-emperor of the Ape Clan to enter the emperor level. Since Sun Do had asked, how could he not help? For example, the original sub-emperor of the Medicine God Palace also wanted to break through to the emperor level, and the sub-emperor of the War Tribe also wanted to take that step. In addition, there was also the most important thing. He wanted to increase the strength of his trusted subordinate. This was the most important thing. He had opened the spatial door between Wu Ho County and the Medicine God Palace. In the future, Wu Ho County would be his backyard. He planned to completely isolate it and form an independent divine land for cultivation. As for the people who lived in Wu Ho County, they could all join the Wu Ho faction and become a part of it. As long as they proved that they had enough talent, they could stay in the divine land to cultivate. If they didn't have talent, they would be arranged to continue living in other places of the divine residence. Now, Wu Ho County had become completely different. Yang Wu had completely arranged the divine veins that he had obtained from the auction in Wu Ho County. The divine veins were like dragons, and the 81 high-grade divine veins formed a peerless immortal matrix at the same time. It quickly helped Wu Ho County become a first-class divine land for cultivation. Under the effect of the immortal matrix, it would be more extraordinary than any other divine land. In the future, as the essence of the sun and the moon continued to condense, this place would become a paradise. After Yang Wu's memory was awakened, Little Hay had no reason to be lazy. It couldn't wait to quickly execute every order that Yang Wu gave it to make up for what it had done to its master. During this time, Lu Ji and Little Hay worked together to arrange the matrix. Their matrix skills were getting stronger and stronger. It wouldn't be long before he would become the most powerful matrix master in the God realm. After the immortal matrix was completed, the endless power of the stars fell. The sun and the moon appeared together again. The purple chi from the east sprinkled the light of the moon, making this place completely different. A large amount of chi of life rolled out from the Taishan Mountains toward Wushuan County. When I first chose this place, I felt that the Taishan Mountains were extraordinary. Now I am even more certain that it is an ancient divine vein. After combining with the immortal matrix, the Taishan Mountains will eventually benefit. But Wu Ho County is the real center. In the future, this is no longer Wu Ho County, but the territory of Wu Ho Gang. Yang Wu looked at the changes in the surroundings and said faintly. A chaos boundary stone appeared. He formed a sword with his finger and quickly wrote the words, Wu Ho Gang, on this chaos boundary stone. After the words were written, chaotic divine light floated, and sword chi overflowed, gathering the might of the immortal path. Fall. After Yang Wu said this, he used a magic. The chaos boundary stone turned into a huge stone tablet and fell toward the entrance of Wu Ho Gang. Bang! The chaos stone tablet fell, and Wu Ho Gang stabilized the God realm. Everyone in Wu Ho Gang felt it, and they all looked solemn. They silently recited the words, Wu Ho Gang. In the future, they would be proud of this. Master, this move is just like when you were in the immortal realm. It's amazing. Little Hay rushed over and said fawningly. Don't flatter me. The matrix seems to have been set up, but the matrix pattern you created is not perfect. You didn't put in any effort. Do you have a problem with me? Yang Wu narrowed his eyes at Little Hay. Little Hay's naked body tensed up. Master, how could I dare to do such a thing? It's all because my power has not been completely unsealed. If I had unsealed it, there wouldn't be any flaws. Yes, your power has been sealed by them. It's my fault. Yang Wu waved his hand and took Little Hay into his arms. He stroked Little Hay and sighed. Woof, woof. Master, don't be sad. When you return to your peak strength, I will too. Little Hay replied. And then I will improve my strength as soon as possible. Yang Wu said with a trace of seriousness. Are you going to look for the 9th type of mysterious essence chi? There's no rush. Looking for the 9th type of mysterious essence chi with this kind of strength is undoubtedly suicide. Besides, we already know its whereabouts. There's no need to worry about it escaping. First, I'll turn the divine palace into an immortal palace and create a flawless immortal body. Master, you've already recovered your memories. It's only a matter of time. Time doesn't wait for me. Even if I set up an immortal matrix here, it's still too slow. I vaguely feel that there's someone in the immortal realm controlling everything here. I must quickly recover and return to the immortal realm to take a look. Then what's your plan? The immortal realm can't be compared to the immortal realm, but there are many things that the immortal realm can't compare to. Every world of life has its own unique meaning. Otherwise, it's impossible to ascend to immortality. Let's go to the legendary Immortal Gazing Ridge to take a look. Yang Wu gathered the people around him. Yu Yu, Shu Yujun, Wan Lanxin, Sun Do, Lu Ji, Hao Ren, and the others, and prepared to head to the Immortal Gazing Ridge. In addition to these people, he also called the Hall Masters of the Medicine God Temple to give them a great opportunity. Now, not only was the Immortal Matrix set up in Marquis County, but even the Medicine God Mountain's matrix had been upgraded. It was equipped with emergency capabilities, and was not afraid of any sudden attack. The incident at the auction also served as a deterrent, so the Medicine God Temple was safe. Chapter 1816. Immortal Gazing Ridge could see immortals, and its surroundings were all natural barriers. There were a large number of ancient mountain ranges, and a large number of living creatures. Countless races were entrenched here. If one wanted to reach Immortal Gazing Ridge, they had to pass through them first. An ancient war chariot appeared with close to 100 people inside. It approached the periphery of Immortal Gazing Ridge. As they flew past this place, there were powerful creatures flying past them, attacking them. It was an ancient flying beast. Its body was huge, blotting out the sky, and its demonic aura surged into the sky. You! The flying beast attacked like an eagle. Its wings turned into tens of thousands of sharp blades, slashing at the war chariot. A voice rang out from the war chariot, "Woof woof, a small flying beast dares to challenge my immortal chariot? You overestimate yourself." Formation light flowed on the war chariot. A translucent power formed a light screen, enveloping the war chariot, allowing the flying beast to attack. The people on the war chariot faced all of this calmly, as if they were full of confidence in the war chariot's formation. Bang! The flying beast's power slammed into the formation, but it didn't break the formation. The flying beast was forcefully sent flying. The war chariot continued forward, not affected at all. Next, a large number of flying beasts also rushed over. They erupted with boundless light, wanting to destroy the war chariot. The war chariot was pulled by a true dragon. Terrifying dragon roars rang out, forcefully killing these flying beasts. These were the true dragons that came from Yang Newsmount and Yang Zhenlong. They had all grown up. 2 true dragons with incomparably pure bloodlines, and Little Silver who evolved from a silver-patterned turtle into a black tortoise. Their demonic aura surged into the heavens. Everywhere they passed, no demons dared to stop them. Behind them, vicious beasts rushed over one after another. They had extremely low intelligence and only knew how to kill. They didn't care if the other party was a true dragon or not. These creatures at the periphery couldn't stop the true dragons at the true god level. A path was forcefully torn open, heading straight for Immortal Gazing Ridge. Powerful creatures appeared one after another, and there were even Emperor-level creatures. The immortal world was vast and boundless. The human race had 5 emperors, but it didn't mean that the other races didn't have Emperor-level creatures. On the contrary, there were many hidden Emperor-level creatures. They pursued the immortal realm and didn't want to rule. This was especially so for the creatures near Immortal Gazing Ridge. They comprehended the immortal Tao and had a chance to become immortals. Yang Zhonglo appeared, of course. But it was to create an opportunity for Yang. Yang Wu didn't care at all. No matter how many emperors there were, they couldn't compare to Blackie. Even if Blackie had not been completely unsealed, as a celestial hound, how could they compare to it? Soon, they arrived in front of the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Feeling the majestic aura of the Immortal Gazing Ridge, they were all relaxed and happy. Of the 2 to the Gasto. I've known about the existence of Immortal Gazing Ridge since a long time ago, but this is the first time I've been so close to it. Yang Zhonglo sighed with emotion. Do you have the right to become an immortal just by ascending Immortal Gazing Ridge? Lu Ji's eyes flowed with the power of yin and yang. He looked up and said softly. He could only see a hazy area and couldn't see the scenery at the top of the mountain. Sun Do carried his battle rod and said, "Go up and take a look. No one can stop us." Yang Wu smiled and said, "We didn't come to Immortal Gazing Ridge for you to climb to the top. There is immortal chi here to strengthen your physique and help you have more potential to become immortals. In the future, you can break the shackles and ascend to the immortal realm." What qualifications do you have to become immortals? A cold and arrogant voice sounded from a direction. A fiery red figure flew out. It was a vermilion bird. Her entire body was surrounded by divine flames. She was like a goddess of the 9 heavens. She was incomparably dazzling. This was a vermilion bird that had reached the emperor level. She was very good-looking. If she transformed into human form, she would be a first-class beauty. The true dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise were the top races of the demon race. They were born with the strength of a saint. Once they grew up, they would be invincible in the same realm. Little Hay replied first, because I'm the celestial emperor. Little bird, quickly submit. I'll give you an immortal opportunity. How dare you? The vermilion bird shouted. A divine flame shot towards Little Hay. The divine flame broke through space and directly ignited in Little Hay's direction. No one could defend against it. Woof, woof, little bird. How dare you play with fire in front of me? You really don't know what's good for you. Little Hay replied. She opened her mouth and forcefully swallowed the divine flame that lingered around her body. Then, a true samadhi fire burned towards the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird's eyes twitched. She felt threatened. She moved away and turned into a divine flame. Endless waves of fire covered Little Hay and Yang Wu's group. If they wanted to ascend the immortal gazing ridge, they had to pass through her first. For countless years, living beings had tried to ascend the immortal gazing ridge. However, no one had really become an immortal. She had also tried to ascend the immortal gazing ridge. However, in the end, she had returned without success. It was as if a ridge was a world. It was impossible to force it. You're still so arrogant. I'll pluck all your feathers. Little Hay was furious. Her body grew bigger, and a powerful demonic aura swept out from her body. She lowered her claws and the claws became bigger. She forcefully tore through the vermilion bird's domain and clawed at the vermilion bird. Little Hay's realm had not recovered to the martial emperor realm. However, it had no problem fighting a martial emperor. It had an immortal body that could not be killed or destroyed. It was not something the vermilion bird could compare to. The vermilion bird had cultivated for many years. Her divine flame was boundless. It enveloped heaven and earth. She thought that she could refine Little Hay. However, Little Hay ignored her and directly leaped behind her. It clawed at her, almost tearing her body apart. Little bird, how dare you be so impudent? Surrender and I'll give you an immortal opportunity. Otherwise I'll swallow you alive, Little Hay shouted fiercely. Roar. Suddenly, a terrifying tiger's roar rang out. A murderous golden energy tore through the air from afar. It broke through layers of space and landed on Little Hay. Little Hay's reaction was extremely fast. It turned into an afterimage and dodged the attack. Moreover, it even tore off one of the vermilion bird's wings. A white tiger came from afar. Boundless murderous golden energy swept through heaven and earth, forming a golden storm. It attacked Little Hay, and the heaven and earth were devastated. That's the white tiger. Yang Wushuang shouted excitedly. The vermilion bird and the white tiger have both appeared. I have the true dragon and the black tortoise on my side. One day I'll help them all become immortals. When we return to the immortal world, it'll be wonderful to have them help us, Yang Wu murmured. Father, I want him to be my mount, Yang Tianjiao said expectantly. Tell your uncle Little Hay that both the vermilion bird and the white tiger can stay, Yang Wu said nonchalantly. In the immortal world, these top-tier demonic beasts were nothing more than mounts for immortal-level beings. Perhaps in other realms, the demon race, and other races were all incomparably powerful beings. But in the immortal world, humans were the true rulers. You humans sure talk big. Do you really think you're immortals? The white tiger roared. Terrifying demonic energy erupted, reaching the peak of the immortal emperor realm. Its strength was even more domineering than the vermilion bird. It already had the potential to become an immortal. If I'm not an immortal, then are you? Blackie replied. Then, it clashed with the white tiger. The two powerful demonic beasts clashed with each other continuously. Heaven and earth were on the verge of collapsing. The white tiger was the master of metal. Its murderous metal energy was incomparably pure, and its killing power was the most terrifying. Little Hay unleashed the true Samadhi fire, wanting to burn the white tiger to death. But the white tiger's strength was indeed above its current level. Its golden claws slashed down, turning into tiger fists that filled the sky. Little Hay was sent flying continuously. "Uncle Little Hay can't handle it," Yang Tianjiao said, covering his face. Little Hay was greatly provoked. It shouted, "It was just a moment of carelessness. Take my immortal thunder seal." It spat out a immortal thunder seal. It was the Sky Thunder Mountain from before. The Thunder Mountain kept growing, and immortal energy lingered around it. Boundless power of thunder and lightning suppressed the white tiger. No matter how strong the white tiger's power was, it couldn't move the thunder immortal. It forced the white tiger to spit out an item. It was a golden bell. Boundless bell chimes reverberated endlessly, blocking the immortal thunder seal. "An immortal bell?" Yang Wu said excitedly. In the next moment, his moon soul battle form appeared. He held the Xianpan shield and suppressed the white tiger. As long as Little Hay's power was not completely unsealed, it would not be able to become an invincible creature. The vermilion bird rushed up again. Its broken wings regenerated, turning into thousands of flaming blades that attacked Yang Wu. "Young Emperor, let me do it," Yang Zhonglo stood up and said. "It's fine," Yang Wu said with a wave of his hand. "Little Hay, stand down first. White tiger, vermilion bird, submit to me and I'll give you immortal opportunities." Yang Wu said faintly. Immortal energy lingered around his body, as if a true immortal had descended to the mortal world. Endless wind and clouds gathered around him, as if they were swallowing the world. At this moment, Yang Wu finally used the combat power he had in his previous life. White tiger and vermilion bird stood on his left and right. The former roared, "Why?" The latter said, "Even if you're an immortal, you don't have the right." They attacked Yang Wu at the same time, one in front and one behind. The murderous gold energy formed a storm that turned into a golden ocean. The domineering murderous gold energy was full of destructive power. Vermilion Bird's body erupted with endless divine fire. Streaks of divine fire turned into swords that fell, wanting to cut Yang Wu into pieces. These were all Emperor-level powers. Even Yang Zhonglo could only run in the face of them. They were too talented. "Then I'll suppress you first," Yang Wu said faintly. Many powers gathered on the Xianpan shield. In the next moment, the Xianpan shield disintegrated like a broken plate. Endless power attacked them together. At this moment, it was as if the forbidden land of destruction had reappeared. The terrifying reversal power was unstoppable. Boom, boom, boom. Bursts of explosions rang out incessantly. The disc breaker ground shattered the attacks of the white tiger and the vermilion bird, and shrouded them. Roar. White tiger did not retreat. He turned into a powerful tiger the size of a mountain. The murderous gold energy in this area was all under his control. The tiger turned into a fist and crashed into the forbidden land of destruction, wanting to forcefully shatter the forbidden land of destruction. A vermilion bird also rushed to the 9 heavens, flapping its wings rapidly. Waves of divine fire turned into a sea with a strong burning power that was enough to burn the sky and boil the sea. Chapter 1817. On a mortal gazing ridge, on the countless steps, there were dozens of people prostrating on the step. They couldn't continue moving forward at all, and they even started to cry out in pain. "I have sinned, I am willing to repent. But I am an immortal, what is wrong with killing ants? I don't care about the past or the future. I just want to ascend to immortality. Why are you stopping me?" Immortal energy lingered around their bodies, but it also left. They weren't able to stop it because they belonged to ruined Immortal Hall. On the other hand, the God Emperor had reached a higher level than them. He had received the nourishment of wisps of immortal chi, and after using the immortal arts that Kuan Mingzi had passed down, his divine court had become clear, and he had comprehended the immortal Tao. He had begun to condense his own immortal Tao power. Reaching this step, he already had the potential to become an immortal. But to completely transform the power of the divine chains into immortal Tao power, how many years would it take? Unless he was willing to stay here and cultivate, forgetting the matters of the mortal world. On the steps there were many emperor skeletons sitting on different steps. There were humans and other races. They were all piles of white bones on the path to immortality. They didn't complete the transformation and died here. Even if they died, the endless emperor might and immortal energy merged together, suppressing countless heroes here. If one wanted to reach the top, they had to pass through them first. How could people who weren't as outstanding as them reach the top? On the steps, apart from emperor might, there were also immortal illusions. All of them considered the will of those who reached the top. The one at the front of ruined immortal hall's people was Kand Song. He was the strongest and his will was also the strongest. He wanted to become an immortal again, to condense his own immortal Tao. In my past life, I was a half-immortal king, a mere immortal staircase can't stop me. Kand Song roared in his heart. Every step he took was filled with power. The dried-up immortal blood in his body couldn't move at all. Endless power was still grinding away at his life force. When he took another step, he spat out a mouthful of blood. A strand of immortal energy lingered in his body, activating a bit of his immortal body's power. His broken life force was reignited. He couldn't help but laugh maniacally. I finally feel alive, haha. When they came out of the Forbidden Land, their immortal bodies were already crippled. However, they relied on special techniques to continue to maintain a sliver of battle prowess, and this sliver of battle prowess could allow them to battle Emperor-level creatures. It was clear how extraordinary the immortal realm was. In their group, only Kuan Mingzi was able to move forward without being affected by the environment. However, when he was about to reach the top of Immortal Gazing Ridge, he was blocked by a powerful barrier. "Is this the gate of the immortal realm?" Kuan Mingzi murmured. Immortal chi swirled around him as his power continued to gather. He formed a seal with both hands and slammed it onto the enchantment of the immortal world. Bang! The barrier of the immortal world had a rebounding force, forcibly knocking away Kuan Mingzi's force. Touch the gate of immortality. Suffer the punishment of lightning. A sound rang out, and the power of immortal lightning exploded from the barrier, blasting towards Kuan Mingzi. Kuan Mingzi's eyes flickered as he frantically retreated. He pulled out the god-slaying sword and slashed out with an incomparably stunning sword. Strands of immortal energy collided with the immortal lightning, but it was actually unable to destroy it. Instead, the immortal lightning's power caught up with it and violently exploded on his body. Pooh! After Kuan Mingzi spat out a mouthful of blood, an ice jade appeared on his body, forcefully blocking the immortal lightning's power. Countless strands of sword energy turned into ice crystals, blocking the immortal lightning until he retreated 99 steps. Only then did it stop. "I'm too weak," Kuan Mingzi muttered to himself. He sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the thin strands of immortal energy from all directions, reforming his immortal Tao. As long as his immortal Tao was complete, he could break open the gate of the immortal world and return to the immortal world. Under the immortal gazing ridge, Yang Wu was fighting the white tiger and the vermilion bird at the same time. The Xianpan shield was fully activated, completely suppressing their power. There were also many reversing forces wreaking havoc on them, making them completely helpless. If they did not have immortal items on them, the Xianpan shield would have been able to destroy them. "If you're still not convinced, then I'll beat you until you're convinced," Yang Wu shouted. The electric fork appeared in his hand, and the chaotic divine lightning was absorbed. He turned into a lightning god that rewarded and punished. Streaks of chaotic divine lightning condensed into the Tao of lightning, bombarding them wildly. The white tiger and the vermilion bird were certain that they were no match for Yang Wu. They did not plan to continue fighting and wanted to escape. However, Yang Wu had already made his move. How could he let them escape? Master had already expected that you would escape. Little Hay spoke. The space around them trembled, and a formation appeared. It was set up by Little Hay after she retreated from the battle. It formed a confinement formation, binding the white tiger and the vermilion bird within. "Bastard, let us go!" the white tiger roared. The golden bell slammed into the formation, but unfortunately, there was no way it could break the formation. The vermilion bird controlled an immortal feather and turned it into a streak of flame, slamming into the formation. It was also unable to shake the formation in the slightest. Before the two of them could break the formation, the Xianpan shield came down again. Endless immortal qi gathered within, restraining the two immortal weapons. The electric fork attacked again. Yang Wu's lunar soul battle body was comparable to a boundary emperor. With his martial strength, he could fight a great emperor. Adding to that the explosive power of the immortal Tao, who could stop him? Soon, the white tiger and the vermilion bird were both suppressed. "You've been waiting here for a chance to become immortals. I'm the one you've been waiting for," Yang Wu said faintly. He reached out and grabbed at the void. Immortal qi gathered around him, making him look even more majestic. The white tiger and the vermilion bird sensed the immortal qi on Yang Wu's body. They lowered their proud heads and said in unison, "Greetings, Master." You two pull the war chariot first." Yang Wu removed the suppression and returned to his usual calm and collected manner. The two emperor-level beings pulling the war chariot stunned everyone on the war chariot. If other beings saw this, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Was this the extravagance of an immortal-level being? "Why are you in a daze?" In the immortal realm, it's very common for immortal demons to pull war chariot. Little Hay replied. After a pause, she added, "Of course, there are also humans who become the pets of immortal demons." Yang Wu knocked Little Hay on the head and said, "You talk too much nonsense." The white tiger and the vermilion bird didn't dare disobey. Yang Wu's immortal aura was even more powerful than the one they'd encountered before. They chose to follow Yang Wu. With the white tiger and the vermilion bird opening the way, they successfully arrived at the staircase leading to the immortal ridge. "Rumor has it that ascending the staircase leads to the immortal realm," the white tiger said. "Rumor has it that there are a total of 99,000 steps," the vermilion bird added. "How many steps have you climbed?" Yang Wu countered. "Not even 10,000, the white tiger replied. "Then you're indeed a little weak." Yang Wu nodded in agreement. Then he said to the people behind him, "This place is branded with the immortal Tao. You can cultivate below for now. Once you've perfected your martial path, you can continue to train your martial path. Don't force yourself to reach the top, not even emperor-level beings." "Yes, Master," everyone replied. They began to climb the staircase. At first, it wasn't obvious, but when they reached the 100th step, they could feel the might of an emperor-level being. Some of the weaker ones felt pressured. Take a good look. This is also the power of martial path. The stronger your will, the more you'll comprehend. Naturally, you'll be able to advance further. Yang Wu's voice echoed in their ears. Then he said, "In a moment you'll go up one by one. Don't rush up all at once. It'll be much less stressful." Before Master came, a group of people had already gone up. "They might be up there," the white tiger reminded them. Then, a power floated in front of it, forming the shape of Kuan Mingzi and the others. "Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road." Yang Wu sneered. "Yang Wu, I'm going to kill the God Emperor," Du Shaojing said angrily. "It's not difficult for you to kill him. But do you want to borrow my hand or do you want to do it yourself?" Yang Wu asked. Du Shaojing hesitated for a moment, then said, "I'll do it myself." "Okay, then you go up the staircase." The higher you go, the stronger the immortal Tao. You have to experience it carefully. I think this staircase is just a test to see if you have the potential to become an immortal. If you haven't comprehended the immortal Tao, don't even think about going up. Yang Wu replied. Then he said to Little He, go up and take care of her. If you encounter Kuan Mingzi and the others, don't hold back. But I think that guy has an extraordinary background. Take it easy. Master, don't worry. If they dare to do anything, I'll bite them to death, Little He replied. Then, she transformed into a bolt of lightning and rushed up. Everyone looked at Little He's swift and fierce movements and felt a sense of defeat. They sighed in their hearts, humans are worse than dogs. Master, I'll go first. Yang Ba, who was behind Yang Wu, stepped forward and said. Now, Yang Ba looked extremely burly and strong. Wearing a set of divine armor, he looked even more heroic. He walked up step by step, his eyes filled with determination. He completely ignored the emperor-level pressure. He's also a good son of our Yang clan. Yang Zhonglo sighed. With Yang Ba's aura, he also had the potential to become an emperor in the future. Uncle Ba has always been unwilling to enter the true God realm. He feels that the God realm can be polished to perfection. Building a God palace is not difficult for him. He wants to become a super strong person, Yang Wushuang said. Yang Ba and Su Chu had always been Yang Wu's right-hand men. When they were in the transcendent realm, their talents were outstanding. But when they came to the God realm, they could only be considered ordinary. However, after being nourished by Yang Wu's immortal liquid, they became extraordinary and could have broken through to the true God realm long ago. But the two of them did not do so. They went to different places to train and challenged many powerful martial gods in the medicine god realm to train. Master, I'll go up first. Su Chu also stepped up. It was as if he had transformed into a white tiger. The murderous aura of gold was astonishing. The two of them went all the way up. They were only at the peak of the God realm. They only stopped when they reached more than 800 steps. White Tiger and Vermilion Bird were shocked. Chapter 1818. Without entering the true God realm, one could forget about reaching the 500th step. Yet, Yang Ba and Su Chu had actually reached the 800th step. Their willpower was indeed strong. After the two of them went up, Yang Nu, Yang Zixing, Yang Wushuang, Yang Tianjiao, and the others from the Martial Marquis gang and the Medicine God Palace all stepped up. Most of them had entered the true God realm and had the power of divine chains. They could at least reach the 500th step. The stronger ones could reach the 1000th step. The higher they reached, the greater their potential. It also meant that their martial arts power was purer. For example, Yang Nu, Yang Zixing, and the others had shocking talent. They had all reached the 1000th step. How far they could reach would depend on their own abilities. The others also went up in batches. Soon, the gap between everyone could be seen. Yang Nu, Yang Zixing, Yang Wushuang, and Yang Tianjiao all displayed extraordinary abilities. They had reached the 2000th step and were still going up. It was just a matter of whether they could reach the 10,000th step. Many monarch-level experts could only reach the 10,000th step. And now, the people from the ruined Immortal Palace were at the 15,000th step. They couldn't go up. They could only retreat or stay here to cultivate. They had already noticed the arrival of Yang Wu and the others. A living being rushed down from above and shouted, "This is the Immortal Path. It is already under the control of the ruined Immortal Palace. All of you, scram!" This voice reverberated throughout the celestial staircase. Boundless killing intent swept down from the top. The ruined Immortal Palace is nothing. Since you are already crippled, why don't you just end your own lives? What's the point of struggling at death's door? Little He replied, "Where did this demon dog come from? How dare you speak so arrogantly?" The living being shouted. A spear appeared in his hand. He threw it at Little He. Shio! The spear exploded with green light. It broke through layers of space and arrived in front of Little Hay in the blink of an eye. It was about to pierce through Little Hay. Blackie spat out true Samadhi fire at the spear, burning the spear. Samadhi true fire was an immortal fire. It directly burned the true God weapon. The living being's eyes jumped. He exclaimed, "Samadhi true fire." He was once an immortal. Now that he saw an immortal flame, how could he not be moved? "You still have some eyesight. I'll send you to Elysium." Little Hay responded and ignored the pressure in this place. It rushed forward and clawed furiously at the creature. Even though there was pressure here, its strength was still incomparably strong. Before Little Hay's claws could reach it, the creature swung out a domineering fist and forcefully blocked Little Hay's fist. Just when he thought that everything was fine, Little Hay had already moved to his side and opened her mouth to bite him. That creature was given a great fright. Its body moved to the side, but a large chunk of its flesh was still bitten off. "Kill!" Green light floated around the creature's body. The power of green vines appeared on his body and bound Little Hay. Little Hay's Samadhi true fire erupted and enveloped the creature, burning many of the green vines. The creature was also burned by the Samadhi true fire. He was greatly shocked. The green light on his body circulated wildly and forcefully shook off the Samadhi true fire. He quickly rushed up and shouted, "There's an immortal spirit." If this continued, Little Hay would definitely kill him. Little Hay did not chase after him. Its responsibility was to protect the people below. These immortals were nothing in its eyes. Moreover, Yang Wu was here. There was no chance for them to be impudent. At this moment, Yang Nu, Yang Zixing, and the others had already crossed the 3,000 step. At this point, their speed became slower and slower. They were only early-stage true God. It was already very difficult for them to reach this point. "This is not our limit. Can you still go up?" Yang Nu asked the others beside her. "At least more than 10,000 steps." Yang Zixing replied. Chaos lightning flowed around his body, making him look like the son of the thunder god. He continued to advance step by step with an extraordinary aura. "I won't lose to you," Yang Wushuang laughed. Yang Wushuang laughed. Immortal qi seemed to flow around her body. A layer of blue light wrapped around her, helping her to continue forward. Yang Tianjiao also followed behind, but he was clearly putting in more effort than the others. "You little guys, don't you know how to wait for me?" A lazy voice rang out. It was a wretched-looking man who had caught up from behind. It was Jiang Ping. Jiang Ping cultivated the one qi into 3 pure ones. It was an incomparably high-level profound formula. After Yang Wu upgraded it, it had reached the immortal rank. He could cultivate both his physical body and clone at the same time. He had already entered the true God realm, even faster than Yang Ba and Su Chu. Moreover, his reputation as a philanderer had spread throughout the God realm. Many famous goddesses from various factions had fallen head over heels for him. This was a guy who would not keep a low profile no matter where he went. Now, the ability he displayed was not inferior to Yang Nu and Yang Zixing. After Jiang Ping came up, Shu Yujun, Wan Lanxin, and the others also came up. Yang Wu did not help them. He wanted to see how far they could go first. Over the years, he had spent many resources on them. Even if they did not have immortal bodies, they were comparable to first-class divine bodies. They were not much worse than anyone else. After they all went up, Yang Wu slowly followed behind them. Yang Wu first went to Yang Ba and Su Chu's side. He saw martial arts lingering around their bodies. They had already condensed quite clearly. However, without a divine palace, they were destined to be unable to gather these martial arts together and break through completely. Yang Wu's voice rang out. "If we don't build a divine palace now, when will we?" Yang Wu had already refined items for them to build divine palaces. They just needed to take that step. The two of them were enlightened. They started to refine the top-grade true God treasures on them and started to build their first divine palace. Little Silver, White Tiger, Let me borrow a drop of your essence blood. Yang Wu transmitted his voice to Little Silver and White Tiger who were above. Little Silver didn't hesitate. It directly spat out a mouthful of heart blood and sent it down. Master, is it enough? It's enough, Yang Wu replied. At the same time, White Tiger also sent down a mouthful of essence blood. This was a living emperor-ranked essence blood. Yang Wu mixed these 2 balls of essence blood into the immortal liquid and sent them into Yang Ba and Su Chu's mouth. This essence blood would help them become stronger. Maybe they could awaken different divine abilities. Yang Ba and Su Chu were enveloped by divine light. Boundless heaven and earth mystic chi gathered as they started to break through with all their might. Yang Wu directly condensed a clone and appeared beside them, protecting them. He continued to ascend, providing assistance to those who were stuck at different levels. He either helped them comprehend the martial path or helped them break through their wills. He continued to ascend, not leaving anyone behind. And at this moment, Koan Mingzi's group came down from above. Koan Mingzi looked down from above. His gaze was like ice and the coldness was overwhelming. Beside him, there were over 10 emperor-ranked life forms. This was especially so for Tsang Tsang, who had recovered a portion of his immortal chi. He had already surpassed the emperor-ranked and could be considered a quasi-immortal. Such a lineup was sufficient to sweep through the entire divine realm. Yang Wu inclined his head and looked at Koan Mingzi. His soul eye automatically opened as immortal chi gathered in it. It could see through all emptiness and obstructions. At the same time, he also saw Koan Mingzi's situation clearly. There was an ice jade immortal root flowing around his body. It was like amber and was extremely dazzling. He murmured, "Ice jade immortal palace? Yang Wu, receive my sword." Koan Mingzi shouted. The power of his immortal root flowed, and the layers of immortal chi on his body turned into ice crystals. He also absorbed the immortal chi in the immortal ridge and gathered it together, forming an ice jade sword. Immortal chi swirled around it as it slashed down furiously from the sky. This tyrannical sword shadow was extremely cold, and the sword force was even more terrifying. It wanted to bury Yang Wu's group here with a single slash. He had an immortal root and could borrow immortal chi. He had the power to kill emperors here. He's also a reincarnated body. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to condense the immortal Tao. Yang Wu said. The immortal chi on his body also erupted. The Supreme Nine Mysteries formula also circulated, borrowing a large amount of immortal chi. All the martial paths he cultivated erupted as he advanced towards the immortal Tao. His finger formed a battle spear. This was formed by the power of the immortal Tao. The long spear flew out violently, as though it wanted to explode this heaven and earth. One sword and one spear, one up and one down. It was like a battle from another lifetime ago. Bang! The two forces collided. The heaven and earth trembled. Neither of them collapsed. They continued to be in a stalemate. Now it was time to see whose immortal Tao was stronger. Yang Wu, who exactly are you? Koan Mingzi shouted loudly. His body pressed down. Immortal chi surged downwards. The power of the ice jade started to freeze everything here. Have you heard of the saying in the immortal world, "Who in the world doesn't know the Lord?" Yang Wu didn't reply. Little He asked for him instead. Who in the world doesn't know the Lord? Koan Mingzi murmured. Then, his eyes widened as he cried out involuntarily, "How could it be you?" Just as his voice fell, the ice jade sword completely shattered. A blue immortal chi that defied the heavens directly landed on his body. Pooh! Koan Mingzi couldn't withstand the power of this spear. He was directly hit until he spat out blood and retreated. Song Tsang blocked in front of Koan Mingzi, preventing Yang Wu from continuing to chase after him. Let's go. Koan Mingzi didn't care about his injuries and ordered Song Tsang. Song Tsang didn't understand how they came back, but he still led them down. Song Tsang's subimmortal strength was already considered a peak battle strength. Who could stop him here? Protect them. Yang Wu ordered White Tiger and Vermilion Bird. He was afraid that Song Tsang would take the opportunity to hurt them. In addition, he also completely released the power of the Fang Divine Palace. He absorbed the surrounding immortal qi and enveloped them. The Xianpan shield also appeared in his hand. He could attack Song Tsang at any time. I don't care who you are. I'm the strongest here. Take this. Song Tsang shouted faintly. Immortal qi condensed on his body. A broken sword quickly appeared. It turned into an extremely fast stream of light and stabbed down at the group below. At least, the pressure from above wasn't that great. It was within the range of what he could bear. If this sword stabbed down, it would be able to kill all the living beings below like a skewer of tofu. Little Hay spat out the immortal thunder seal. Boundless chaotic thunder power exploded and blocked the sword. However, its power was weaker than Song Tsang's. The immortal thunder seal was suppressed and pressed down. How dare you? Yang Wu roared. The Moon Soul battle body rushed forward with the Xianpan shield. Rumble, rumble. Chapter 1819. The power of a subimmortal was incomparably tyrannical. It consecutively sent the two subimmortal weapons flying. However, it was unable to continue injuring the others. As for the White Tiger and the Vermilion Bird, they unleashed their power at the same time, intercepting Song Tsang. The power of the White Tiger Jin Gung and the Vermilion Bird Divine Fire. The combined attack of the two great emperors was incomparably powerful. Kentsang released the power of the immortal Tao from his body and forcefully destroyed the attacks of the two emperor-level creatures. Moreover, he sent them flying. How domineering was that? Yang Wu's Moon Soul battle physique charged over. The profound disc shield pressed down and finally pressured Song Tsang. Scram! Kentsang shouted, his immortal palm slapping downwards. Immortal energy surged downwards, about to kill everyone below. Yang Wu wiped away his killing intent, and the power of the immortal foundation completely gathered on the profound disc shield. The black tortoise appeared, and the reversal power crazily rushed forward, completely blocking the power of Kentsang's immortal palm. At the same time, he glared at Song Tsang with his soul force that contained the immortal Tao. At this moment, the power of the soul I was many times stronger than before. Even Song Tsang felt pressured. Immortal Qi protected Shen Ting as he brought Kuan Mingzi, the God Emperor, and the people of the ruined Immortal Hall away. In the future, I will destroy all of you. Song Tsang's words echoed throughout the stairway. We still don't know who will be killed, Little Hay replied. She really wanted to chase after them and bite them all. Yang Wu landed as his soul returned to its original position. He then spoke to the others. Continue with the ascension stairs, tempering your wills here. There's no need to think too much. I want to surpass them. Yang Wushuang's willpower was incomparably firm. He wasn't affected in the slightest. Emperor level? I was born as an emperor and will become an immortal in the future. Yang Zixing said faintly. Yang Nu didn't say anything and continued to follow her master, Hao Ren. These people all had the potential to become emperors or immortals, so they would not be easily affected. Yang Wu nodded. Then, with a celestial voice, he began to impart the Tao to them. This was the Tao of invincibility that he had cultivated in his previous life. It was a fusion of the strengths of hundreds of schools. For any of them, it had great benefits. At the same time, Yang Wu ascended step by step, crossing over 10,000 steps, and saw many emperor bones. They would all transform here. He continued to ascend, immortal qi lingering around his body, immortal Tao rising in spirals. When he passed the 90,000th step, he finally felt the pressure. At this moment, rumbling sounds rang out from within his divine palace. Those divine chains that were originally stored in the divine palace quickly transformed, condensing into immortal Tao. The Supreme Nine Mysteries mantra within his body was operating at a frenzy, absorbing strands of celestial chi. The celestial peach tree left his body and flew toward the celestial realm gate. Boundless celestial chi gathered toward it. Flower buds formed, and drops of celestial liquid condensed on the celestial leaf. The nine-colored celestial light flowed toward the celestial realm gate, absorbing the celestial chi as much as it wanted. The immortal Tao condensed, and he ignored the immortal Tao's pressure. He arrived at the immortal world gate and felt the existence of the immortal world's barrier. He stood there and stared at the immortal world gate. After an unknown amount of time, he shouted, "Sooner or later, I will blast you open." With that, he turned around and went back down. In the distant immortal world, the immortal guarding the immortal gate faintly heard this voice and shouted, "Where did this lowly creature come from? How dare you look down on the immortal world?" A trident pierced out from the immortal world gate. Immortal chi rolled down, forming a terrifying torrent. Even immortal Gazing Ridge was trembling. The immortal world gate could not be blasphemed. Since ancient times, many heroes wanted to go to the immortal world, but they were all stopped by the immortal gate. Now, someone dared to be so presumptuous and wanted to open the immortal world gate. Didn't this mean that he already had the ability to ascend? This trident was a test. If he couldn't even withstand this trident, how could he enter the immortal world gate? The trident flew out and collided with the trident. The trident was sent flying, and Yang Wu fell down from the immortal stairs until he was halfway up the mountain. He spat out a mouthful of blood, but his aura didn't weaken at all. He looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. I didn't expect that I, who was invincible in my life, would be injured by a small immortal today. Fate is really playing with people. The trident returned to his hand. The power of thunder and lightning lingered around him. He saw the thunder tribulation flying out from the immortal world gate. That was the power of reward and punishment for ascending. Whoever wanted to go to the immortal world gate had to go through the immortal tribulation first. Yu, come here. Yang Wu summoned Ziyuyu. A thunder hammer flew out from Ziyuyu's body. Immortal chi also flew around her body. She quickly met Yang Wu. The thunder hammer and the trident appeared at the same time, absorbing the power of the immortal thunder. The two of them used the Thunder Imperial technique to absorb the power of the immortal thunder and cultivate. The power of the immortal thunder was extremely domineering. It was already very impressive that they could withstand it. It was already very heaven-defying that they could cultivate. Ziyuyu cultivated in the chaotic lightning sea for many years. She had already built 4 divine palaces. She had a pure chaotic immortal thunder body. With Yang Wu's help, after absorbing the immortal thunder, her aura kept increasing. She was heading toward the 5 Suns realm. Build the 5 Suns! Yang Wu shouted. Ziyuyu didn't hesitate. With the immortal item starting to build the divine palaces in her body, and with the immortal thunder Tao inside, she would become extremely powerful. Yang Wu had summoned Ziyue because he wanted her strength to rise to the next level. Ziyuyu and Du Shaojing both had immortal roots and had the potential to become immortals. Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin were slightly weaker. However, with him around, they could all become immortals in the future. This was his unique confidence. The punishment of the immortal thunder quickly disappeared. Ziyuyu sat down cross-legged to cultivate. Yang Wu didn't need to meditate. Now, no matter what, he was cultivating. After condensing the immortal thunder Tao, his strength became even stronger. Moreover, he already sensed the secret method to open the immortal world gate. He thought in his heart, the thunder hammer and electric fork are the true punishment immortal weapons. When Yu becomes an immortal emperor, we can work together to break it. Yang Wu absorbed the immortal chi here. He then looked at the emperor bones. Each emperor bone was imprinted with their powerful cultivation method. It was also an excellent inheritance. He opened his soul eye and saw the inheritance left behind by those Emperor-level life forms. On one of the Emperor bones there seemed to be a green bird flying. It also seemed like the myriad world forest was growing wildly. It belonged to an Emperor-level expert who cultivated the wood element. The green energy condensed into a powerful Emperor shadow that rushed towards Yang Wu. "Freeze!" Yang Wu said in a celestial voice. The power of immortal qi lingered around the Emperor's shadow, condensing it into a power of inheritance. Then he looked at Quafu, who was beside Du Shaojing, and directly flicked the inheritance to him. He shouted, "Take it." Quafu didn't refuse. He specialized in the wood element. This Emperor-level will inheritance was very useful to him. He was old and didn't have the qualifications to reach the Emperor level. But now Yang Wu gave him hope. After continuously soaking in medicinal baths, he had recovered a strong vitality. "Thank you, young master," Quafu thanked him. Yang Wu and Du Shaojing didn't have a title yet, but he already called him that. Yang Wu cursed in his heart for no reason, this old man. Obviously, he wanted him to take responsibility until the end. Yang Wu couldn't deny it. The Celestial Emperor was dead. If he didn't take care of Du Shaojing, who would? Then Yang Wu continued to refine the inheritance of the other Emperor bones. They were all incomparably outstanding figures. They were very powerful when they were alive. Even if they passed away here, they still imprinted a lot of immortal Tao. Unfortunately, they didn't know the way and fell into a certain obsession. They couldn't cross the last stage, so they passed away here. Now Yang Wu injected all of the Emperor's will into the creatures who came with him, helping them to reach a higher level. Kuan Mingzi and the others didn't know about the inheritance left behind by the Emperor bones. It was just that they were all emperors and were once immortals. They weren't interested in the inheritance here at all. Moreover, Yang Wu appeared here. They didn't have time to pay attention to him, so Yang Wu's group benefited. After they cultivated here for a period of time, some of them broke through their realms one after another. Their harvest was very great. Yang Wu didn't plan to stay here forever. There wasn't much immortal qi in the immortal gazing ridge. Unless he directly absorbed immortal qi from the immortal gate like the immortal peach tree, it didn't have much meaning to him. What he lacked now was time. As long as he converted the immortal Tao, no matter what energy he absorbed, he could convert it into immortal qi and increase his strength. He walked around the immortal gazing ridge and collected many Emperor-level great medicines and some top-grade materials. This was his greatest harvest. With these materials, he could help a group of people become emperors. However, when he had such a plan, the ruined Immortal Hall also began to grow in power. The Heavenly God Hall merged with the ruined Immortal Hall and became a subsidiary force of the ruined Immortal Hall. They also produced a leader, Kuan Mingzi. He was a proud son of heaven who came from the human world like Yang Wu. In the past, only Yang Wu's name was known. Now, Kuan Mingzi's name swept across the Divine Buddha Hall. After the two great forces merged, Kuan Mingzi announced that as long as one joined the ruined Immortal Hall, they could inherit complete immortal arts and immortal technique. After this news was released, everyone was stunned. Yang Wu had once refined the 7 Tribulation Emperor Palace pill, which was already shocking enough. Now, Kuan Mingzi actually used immortal arts and immortal techniques as a rallying point. Inheriting immortal arts and immortal techniques was a matter of the immortal world. In the divine world, even if there were immortal arts and immortal techniques, most of them were incomplete. Even if they were incomplete, it was enough to make people jealous. Now that complete immortal arts and immortal techniques had appeared, who wouldn't be moved? Some living beings openly questioned whether the ruined Immortal Hall's immortal arts and immortal techniques were complete. The ruined Immortal Hall directly responded by leaving a sword mark that contained the immortal Tao outside the ruined Immortal Hall. After many sword cultivators came here to observe, they could feel the terrifying sword intent. A boundary emperor came here to try to communicate with the sword intent and was almost killed by the sword intent. That boundary emperor didn't hesitate to join the ruined Immortal Hall in pursuit of the supreme sword technique inheritance. After someone took the lead, more living beings joined the ruined Immortal Hall. The ruined Immortal Hall's reputation quickly surpassed the Medicine God Hall. Compared to the other two forces, the Supreme Harmony Hall and the Void Hall were much more low-key. However, they were definitely not willing to be left out. Chapter 1820. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed. After Yang Wu became the Wuhou Divine Lord, the Medicine God Hall became the ruler of a region and formed an alliance with many factions, using the name of the Wuhou Gang to strengthen their forces. The ruined Immortal Hall was led by Kunming Zi, and after absorbing the people of the original Sky Divine Hall, they became even stronger. They took out immortal arts and immortal skills to attract many factions to join them, and they had the spirit of swallowing the world. The Supreme Harmony Hall suddenly announced that it would merge with the Void Hall and form a new faction, with the Void Emperor as the leader and the Supreme Harmony Emperor as the support. From then on, the Supreme Harmony Hall became an ancient faction, and only the stronger Void Hall remained. Many big things happened in these 100 years. Other than the various forces joining different Emperor forces to save their lives, the three sides were in fierce conflict. Remnant Immortal Palace allowed their subordinates to deal with Wu Hou Gang's allies, and Void Palace did the same. It was as if these two forces were working together to deal with Wu Hou Gang, not giving them a chance to grow stronger. Wu Hou Gang didn't want to be outdone. They continuously sent out powerful forces to counterattack. Both sides suffered losses. The Wu Marquis Gang had the support of the Medicine Shrine, and pills were always the fastest way to increase one's strength. In the past 100 years, a large number of experts had emerged from the Wu Marquis Gang, especially the Emperor-level experts. There were as many as 12 of them. In addition to the 5 Emperor-level experts of the War Race, the Medicine Shrine and the Quasi-Emperors who had been absorbed into the Wu Marquis Gang had also successfully broken through. This did not include the allies they had formed. Many of the allied forces also had Emperor-level experts, but each force only had one. If it was in the past, they could be called Emperor-level Divine Palaces, but now they were merely a major force. The more turbulent a situation was, the easier it was for top experts to appear. This saying made sense. However, these conflicts couldn't be considered a direct conflict. They could only be said to be a process to test the other party's strength. Remnant Immortal Palace kept searching for ruins and forbidden grounds, looking for immortals who were suppressed before. They opened up a large amount of remnant immortal items to help their strength increase by leaps and bounds. The Void Palace's operations were also incomparably mysterious. They continued to sweep through all the heavenly materials and earthly treasures outside the void. Moreover, they seemed to be able to connect directly to the celestial world. They had passed down many celestial techniques that helped their people become stronger. Moreover, even more foreign creatures were recruited. The Martial Marquis Gang and the Medicine God Hall were comparatively calmer. They didn't go out on a large scale to search for heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. With the rallying power of the Medicine God Hall, large amounts of people were sent here to trade for pills. As for those forbidden grounds, there was no need for him to search for them. Everything was handled by Little Hay and the 4 protectors. These 4 protectors were Yang Zhenlong, Little Silver, the White Tiger and the Vermilion Bird. Over the past 100 years, the 3 forces had been accumulating strength and preparing for an even more powerful battle. In the end, an epic war would definitely erupt, and it would depend on who was stronger. Everyone felt that the ruined Immortal Hall would be the first to attack the Martial Marquis Gang, but today, the Martial Marquis Gang was the first to attack. Martial Marquis Gang's vice-gang leader Sun Doling led an army of 300,000 and headed straight for Remnant Immortal Hall's territory. 100 years ago, Sun Do had already stepped into the Three Suns realm. How strong was he now? Precipice State. This was the state closest to the martial Marquis gang that the ruined Immortal Hall occupied. The Precipice State was once under the control of many forces. Now that it was occupied by the ruined Immortal Hall, the people that were originally there were all merged into the ruined Immortal Hall. There was also a State Lord who was a ruined immortal. His name was Kanyong, and he was overseeing this place. Outside the Precipice State, war chariots flew over one after another, flowing with endless light. They were like falling meteors, and were extremely dazzling. The person in the lead wore a battle hoop and golden armor. He held the heaven battling rod in his hand, and he was incomparably awe-inspiring. Behind him there were ape race creatures, moon fox race creatures, and other human race creatures. There was a war flag on the war chariot, and a large martial character hung on it. Beside him, there was a young man with chaotic aura flowing around him. This young man's aura was shocking, and his battle intent was boundless. There was a faint smile on his face, and he seemed very calm. Uncle Sundo, if Father finds out that we are going to battle with such great fanfare, I wonder if he will fall out with you? The young man said to Sundo. Qiankuan, we have tolerated the ruined Immortal Hall for too long. It is time to teach them a lesson. Otherwise, they will think that the martial Marquis gang has an undeserved reputation, Sundo replied. Then why did you kidnap me? What about that? The young man was Yang Wu's son, Yang Qiankuan. He was born as a saint, and in 100 years, he had entered the realm of real God. Moreover, he wasn't a normal real God. He had completely caught up with his sister and brother, and the fighting power he displayed was even stronger. This guy had the best relationship with Sundo. Sundo laughed. Good lad, who was the one who said that he wanted to come out to train? Now you are blaming me. Sundo, we can't afford to lose this battle. We all listened to you and rushed over. If you can't bring out the spirit of killing an emperor, don't blame me for taking the lead. On the other side, another young man in purple with chaotic aura said. Hee, I won't give you such a chance, Sundo laughed. Then let's watch. They are here, the young man in purple replied. He was Yang Zisheng. After many years, his temperament had become completely different, and his name had already resounded throughout the divine realm. A group of 1,000,000 lions rushed over from afar. Many humans were riding on the powerful demon race, and there were also many other races and devil race creatures joining in. Their aura was extremely vast and mighty. Formation! The leader of the 1,000,000 lions shouted. Then, the 1,000,000 lions scattered and formed a formation, blocking Sundo's group in front. The leader shouted, Who dares to invade the territory of my ruined Immortal Hall? This was a half-emperor, the old ancestor of a large force in the Precipice State. Now, he had submitted to the ruined Immortal Hall, cultivated immortal skills, and was full of confidence. Let's fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Formation. Sundo picked his ears and announced loudly. Then, his army of 300,000 also split up and formed 3 square formations. One was led by the Human Clan, one was led by the Monkey Clan and the Fox Clan, and one was led by the other alien clans. They formed a triangular formation. Martial Marquis Gang, do you want to cause the ruined Immortal Hall to fight to the death with you? If that's the case, will you be able to bear the consequences? Scram back. That half-emperor advised. Even though he had submitted to the ruined Immortal Hall, he still didn't want to see the divine realm flowing with blood. I have tolerated you for a long time. You actually helped the evildoers. How many perverse things have the ruined Immortal Hall done? They would casually wipe out the entire sect of the forces that didn't submit to them. How many women were forcefully captured to be used as sacrificial cauldrons? How many people feared them? Today, I, old son, will fight my way to the ruined Immortal Hall's nest from here and eliminate that Kuan Mingzi and the so-called 18 ruined immortals? Sundo said with a thick viciousness. The divine realm wants to grow stronger. In the future, everyone will be able to become an immortal. Naturally, there will be sacrifices. Didn't you notice that there are even more people who have become emperors? That half-emperor replied. After the ruined immortal hall bestowed immortal arts and immortal skills, they opened up many historical remains. They had indeed helped many people become emperors. This was the reason why many forces were willing to join the ruined immortal hall. Many of our martial marquis faction have achieved the martial monarch realm too. We don't need to sacrifice ourselves like that. Don't come up with such a high-sounding reason for your brutality. Sundo sneered and waved his hand. Fight! Fight! 300,000 living beings shouted in unison. Although these living beings all came from different forces, Lu Ji and the battle race's Sun family trained them together, helping them to form a single entity. They could erupt with absolute power of the formation. It was as if they were a single entity and not 300,000 living beings. This was a spirit that the million living beings on the other side couldn't possess. Even the other side was intimidated. When the two met, the brave one would win. It would depend on whose spirit was stronger. Kill. The Boundary Emperor knew that this battle was unavoidable. He directly gave the order. He held the battle sword in his hand and stabbed towards Sun Do's position. The yellow-golden light broke through layers of space and pierced towards Sun Do's heart. How terrifying was the strength of the 8 divine palaces! You're still not my opponent. I'll leave him to you. Sun Do didn't receive this attack at all. He said to Yang Zixing, who was beside him. Okay. Yang Zixing didn't reject. He responded and slapped out a lightning palm, forcefully blocking this sword. Rumble. Following a loud sound, the battle finally started. Yang Zixing fought against the Boundary Emperor. The 300,000 living beings behind him formed a formation and fought against the million living beings. As for Sun Do, he directly raised the heaven battling rod and smashed it towards the void, causing the void to crack. Get out here! Sun Do shouted. You really have guts. I haven't even gone to cause trouble for the Wu Ho gang, and you dare to come here. Don't even think about going back today. A person walked out of the void and said faintly. This was one of the 18 incomplete immortals, Kan Yang. He had once climbed the celestial staircase but was unable to gather the celestial Tao. However, his strength was comparable to that of any emperor. He was like the sun, enveloping the entire area and crushing towards Yang Wu. One finger Kan Yang. A ray of finger light resembling the setting sun descended from the sky. It was incomparably gorgeous and contained boundless killing intent. I haven't had a good fight in 100 years. You will be the first emperor I've challenged. You should be proud even if you die. Sun Do roared and swung the heaven battling rod. Boundless golden divine fire also shot towards Kan Yang. After a loud explosion, the two powers were destroyed. Kan Yang continued to attack with his fingers, each finger stronger than the last. Finally, they stacked together to form the ultimate finger. The terrifying aura of the finger tore through the heavens. Sun Do's aura surged and his divine palace was completely activated. He had reached the 7 palaces realm and was only one step away from becoming a Boundary Emperor. The speed of his improvement was astonishing. He swung his heaven battling rod and hit the power of the finger. Countless flames scattered like fireworks and Sun Do was knocked back hundreds of feet. How dare you act so arrogantly with such little strength? Die. Chapter 1821. The battle between Martial Marquis Gang and ruined Immortal Hall attracted many experts to watch. In the God world, there were still many neutral powers that hadn't been devoured yet. They were waiting to see who would be stronger, and then decide which side to join. Or perhaps they were hoping that they would be lucky enough to stay in a corner for a long time and remain neutral. These people who dared to come and watch the battle were all true God-level powerhouses. There weren't many God-level experts who dared to come. Once they were affected, they wouldn't even have a chance to live. Ruined Immortal Hall is said to be made up of immortals from forbidden grounds. Their battle prowess is incomparably strong. Martial Marquis Gang actually dared to take the initiative to start a battle. This is too crazy. A creature hidden in the void said. Martial Marquis Gang's move is correct. If they don't take the initiative to attack, would Ruined Immortal Hall stop? Now that Ruined Immortal Hall has taken over half of their territory, their goal is clear. They want to sweep through the God Realm. A creature replied. This battle will show who is stronger between the two Emperor-level experts. Maybe we should also take a side. Ruined Immortal Hall's Kuan Mingzi was defeated by Martial Marquis Gang. It's best if they form an alliance with Martial Marquis Gang. They don't have the ambition to devour the world. Instead, they want to develop together with everyone. Although that's the case, Ruined Immortal Hall has immortal arts and techniques. They might have a chance to become immortals in the future. These creatures who were watching from afar whispered to each other. They all had different thoughts. Yang Zixing was dealing with a quasi-emperor. Many primal chaos lightning descended, erupting with unparalleled destructive Tao. It was as if he was the god of lightning in this world. No one could stop him. He had already established the 5 Yang realm. His foundation was incomparably deep, and there were traces of immortal qi. His battle prowess wasn't inferior to the quasi-emperor in front of him. The quasi-emperor had the advantage of cultivation realm. His 8 divine palaces emitted dazzling light. His sword aura surged. Every sword could destroy heaven and earth. His comprehension of sword Tao had also reached a kind of extreme. However, this kind of attack couldn't even break through Yang Zixing's primal chaos lightning domain. However, Yang Zixing couldn't do anything to the other party either. Is this all you've got? Too weak. Yang Zixing said in disdain. Is that so? Let me show you what an immortal skill is. The quasi-emperor responded. Boundless power gathered, and a majestic sword will condensed on the battle sword. Wisps of sword chi formed a storm and swept toward Yang Zixing. All sides perished. The terrifying sword chi storm turned heaven and earth upside down. Space continuously collapsed. Its lethality was close to that of an emperor-level expert. This was the might of an immortal technique. Yang Zixing's primal chaos lightning dominion was broken, and the sword chi landed on his body, leaving him with nowhere to hide. The black tortoise battle armor appeared on his body, releasing a powerful force to resist the attack. The Tao of black tortoise battle armor was inherited from Yang Wu's Tao of defense. He had already comprehended about 70 to 80% of it. Even though he had negated most of the power, the sword chi still cut his body, leaving sword wounds. The other party did not stop there. He continued to push forward with his sword, not giving Yang Zixing any time to breathe. You're not the only one who knows immortal skills. I know them too. Yang Zixing responded. The primal chaos lightning dominion kept compressing on the battle spear. Streaks of primal chaos lightning dominion condensed into lightning dragons. Soon, a primal chaos lightning dragon opened its huge mouth and rushed toward the quasi-emperor. Thunderous dragon roar. This was a thunderous immortal spear technique that Yang Wu passed to Yang Zixing. He had mastered the first 2 moves, which were enough to fight against the quasi-emperor in front of him. The domineering primal chaos lightning dragon crushed the sword chi and forcefully sent the quasi-emperor flying. Boundless lightning struck him, causing him to vomit blood. His body was scorched by the lightning. However, a quasi-emperor would not be defeated so easily. Moreover, Yang Zixing's realm was far inferior to his. The 2 of them could only be considered a draw. If they wanted to determine the winner, they would have to fight to the death. Not far away, Yang Qianquan had already found his opponent. He did not join the battle of 300,000 people. As the vanguard, he naturally had to take care of the strongest opponent. He chose a 7 Suns realm expert. This person was proficient in the Guqin Dao and could attack the soul of others. If he were to join the battle, it would easily affect the others. It was best for him to intercept this person. I'm known as the Guqin demon. Even a quasi-emperor has to give in to me. Young man, you actually dare to fight against me. You're overestimating yourself. The Guqin demon spoke faintly. His palm kept plucking the strings of the Guqin. The sound waves were an attack and rushed toward Yang Qianquan. Every sound of the Guqin could shatter mountains and split seas. It was incomparably sharp. Moreover, the sound waves forced their way into the divine court and could destroy one's soul. If it were other living beings, they might not be able to withstand his Guqin sound. However, Yang Qianquan completely ignored the Guqin sound. He was born in the primal chaos lightning sea. He was born with the primal chaos divine court and the primal chaos lightning Dao flower. He constantly released the thunder Dao immortal sound. Moreover, he had the primal chaos lightning orb that his father had placed in his divine court. Any of these abilities could resist the Guqin sound. However, the Guqin sound did not only attack one's soul. It could also cause great damage to one's physical body. Yang Qianquan held the universe ring in his hand and continuously shattered the Guqin sound. Boundless primal chaos lightning was released. The shadows of the universe ring frantically stacked one after another, trying to shroud and kill the Guqin demon. The Guqin demon played faster and faster. It was as if he was bringing people into a gentle land, making them forget that they were on a dangerous battlefield. It was also as if he was bringing people into a beautiful dream, creating all kinds of illusions. When all of this did not work, the Guqin runes turned into thousands of weapons with shocking killing intent. Ding dong! Ding dong! It's just a small Dao technique. I'll kill you with one move. Yang Qianquan shouted confidently. Suddenly, the sound of thunder exploded and landed directly on the Guqin demon's head. The Guqin demon felt as if his divine court was about to explode. He felt terrible. When he came back to his senses, the universe ring had already hit between his eyebrows. His brain exploded and his soul was destroyed. He couldn't be more dead. He never dreamed that he would be defeated by an opponent whose cultivation level was lower than his. It's an honor for you to be killed by the thunderous celestial soul sound, Yang Qianquan muttered to himself and charged towards the other opponents. The thunderous celestial soul sound was an offensive divine court technique. It was very advanced and not just anyone could learn it. Only people like Yang Qianquan, who had the primal chaos Dao flower, could learn it in advance. Compared to the young Yang Wu, he was only stronger, not weaker. His starting point was too high. Yang Wushuang and Yang Tianjiao could not compare to him. The battle between Sun Do and Kanyang was the most intense and powerful. Sun Do had not become a boundary emperor yet, but he was already challenging an emperor-level living being. He lived up to his name as the god of war. His heaven-fighting staff was swung around, and its might shook the sky. Each staff strike was more overbearing than the previous one. Even if he couldn't kill his opponent, he still attacked bravely. The golden divine flames burned brighter and brighter, forming a momentum that could burn the sky and boil the sea. Kanyang was getting more and more impatient. He had once been an immortal. Even though his immortal body had been destroyed, he was still able to dominate the divine world. His every move was extremely powerful. However, this guy who had turned into an ape was able to block them all. Even though he was injured, his aura did not diminish. If this continued, his aura would weaken. I can't drag this out. I have to kill him in one move. Kanyang decided. When he made up his mind, the majestic power in his body kept surging. The compressed power of the sun was released continuously. Then, it formed a furnace and completely crushed Sun Do's attack. Sun Do shouted, "What terrifying power! I feel like his body has turned into a furnace. This is an immortal technique." It's good that you know it's an immortal technique. It's not too late to regret it now. Kanyang shouted as he prepared to attack Sun Do. However, at that moment, a force came from another direction and slammed into his cauldron. Bang! That was a golden fist that was incomparably domineering. It tore through the void and appeared all of a sudden. Even if it were a planet that came into contact with this fist, it would be destroyed immediately. Kanyang and Sun Do fought intensely, not daring to be distracted. Who would have thought that someone would dare to interfere? Their attacks were already at the level of an emperor. Kanyang's furnace was almost destroyed, and all the energy he had stored up was about to collapse. "You're courting death," Kanyang roared as he threw the furnace in the direction of the intruder. At that moment, Sun Do shot 2 rays of golden flames at his opponent. Eyes of fire and gold. This was his innate ability. After being purified by Yang Wu's immortal liquid, it had become even more extraordinary. The 2 rays of golden light landed on his opponent's body in the blink of an eye. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions rang out continuously. It felt like the world was about to collapse. A giant golden ape appeared and punched out with its golden fists, dispersing the flames from the furnace. The ape's body was also burned by the flames, but it did not care. It was only when the furnace exploded that the ape was sent flying and coughing up blood. Kanyang also spat out blood as he retreated. Sun Do's innate ability had almost destroyed his body. "You ants, I'll destroy you!" Kanyang shouted as he threw a broken furnace at Sun Do and the golden ape. Wave after wave of attacks collided continuously. Golden light scattered and flames soared into the sky. After an unknown period of time, a figure flew out and turned into a stream of light to escape. "Wu Hogang, you won't be able to be arrogant for long. Soon, the remnant immortal palace will capture you all." Kanyang escaped. "Tsk, how cowardly. Running away like that." Sun Do spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't chase after them. If they wanted to escape, he couldn't stop them unless he was stronger. The golden ape said, "He's also afraid of death. His physical body is indeed damaged. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to hurt him." Big Brother said that they have lost their immortal roots and their bodies have lost their immortal Tao. They have already turned into ordinary divine bodies and do not have any advantages. Unless they recover their immortal foundation energy, they will not be a threat to us, Sun Do replied. Gang leader is very knowledgeable. If he becomes an emperor, he will be invincible in the god world. The golden ape said respectfully. The golden ape was only able to become an emperor because of Yang Wu's help. Otherwise, he would still be a quasi-emperor. Big Brother's talent isn't something we can understand. Let's help him conquer this continent first. I wonder if he will be happy when he comes out of seclusion. Chapter 1822. Martial Marquis Gang attacked Sinking Cliff State. Ruined Immortal Hall's casualties were close to 300,000, the other 700,000 soldiers either fled or surrendered. Meanwhile, Martial Marquis Gang's 300,000 army suffered very little casualties, and won with the lesser numbers. It could be said to be a historical battle, recorded in the annals of history. Sun Do, as Martial Marquis Gang's vice-gang leader, became famous in this battle. Although he wasn't in the Emperor realm, he could fight against Emperor realm creatures. His strength was incomparably terrifying. Yang Zixing and Yang Qiankuan were also famous in the divine realm. These two both had the chaotic lightning physique, containing terrifying chaotic lightning power. Their battle prowess was unparalleled. They could be called super true god experts. With them as the vanguard, winning this battle was indeed within reason. This battle also opened the curtains for the great battle between the two god-emperor level forces. After Kanyang returned to ruined Immortal Hall's main camp, he requested to send out troops, wanting to take back Sinking Cliff State, but before their people could do anything, they received news that War Clan sent out 8 great armies to attack their other state, and also took it back. Ruined Immortal Hall had occupied close to 20 states. Now they lost 2. It didn't seem like much, but their face was swollen by Martial Marquis Gang and War Clan. Very obviously, Martial Marquis Gang and War Clan sent out troops at the same time. Their goal was to restrain them, not giving them a chance to attack them one by one. Martial Marquis Gang and War Clan both used a slogan to suppress, "Ruined Immortal Hall's conduct is cruel and heartless." In the states they ruled, there were indeed many people who didn't accept Ruined Immortal Hall's way of doing things. They all sided with these two forces, helping to deal with Ruined Immortal Hall. Ruined Immortal Hall naturally couldn't take this lying down. They sent out experts to fight separately. This kind of battle, no matter what level the warriors were at, they would all be greatly affected. There would be many casualties. A mountain couldn't contain two tigers. This battle could only see who was the strongest, and who could continue to dominate the divine realm. And in reality, the most crucial point of this battle wasn't how many states were conquered, but who was the strongest God-Emperor level expert, who could become the strongest in the divine realm, who could possibly influence the final outcome of the battle. Both forces kept sending out troops. Experts moved out one after another. From an all-out battle, the battle quickly turned into a battle of true God level. The side with the stronger true God expert, that side would be able to seize the state. Other than that, Void Hall also sent people to deal with Martial Marquis Gang's ally. They also took down a state and restrained Martial Marquis Gang, not allowing Martial Marquis Gang to send more people to deal with Ruined Immortal Hall. Obviously, the Void Hall and the Ruined Immortal Hall were allies. How could the Martial Marquis Gang deal with them at the same time? Soon after, the Divine Emperor came out of seclusion with great momentum, reaching the peak of the Nine-Yang realm. With his own strength, he faced the War Clan's 3 Emperor-level experts at the same time without being defeated. He even held the advantage, displaying extremely powerful fighting strength. Other than him, his wife Xian Tianfeng had also become an emperor. This pair of husband and wife would become the strongest force of Remnant Immortal Hall. The battles continued, but the people who would ultimately decide the direction of the battle had yet to appear. Once they did, it would be the most intense moment of the battle. In the Taishan Mountains behind Wuhobang, a large mountain range was owned by Wuhobang, and the creatures there had also become one of Wuhobang's main forces. The most powerful creatures in the Taishan mountain range had already been conquered by the white tiger and the vermilion bird. There was a matrix here that not only led to the Medicine God Hall, but also to the War Clan, and even to the Divine Firmament battlefield. Little Hay's efforts for the past 100 years were all here. He kept crying, "These days are too horrible to look at." Fortunately, Lu Ji had always been with him. In addition, there was also Lu Ji's disciple, Yang Lioro. She had also become an outstanding matrix master. If they wanted to become the ultimate giants of the God realm, they needed more matrices, and even immortal-level matrices. In these years, Lu Ji had entered the way through matrices, and his strength had continued to rise. His progress was not slower than Sun Do's. He was only one palace away from becoming a quasi-emperor. Yang Wushuang and Yang Tianjiao had also become powerful cultivators. They did not stay in Wuhobang, but went to different places to cultivate and find their own path. Yang Qianquan's strong rise had already put a lot of pressure on the two of them. They did not want to lose to this younger brother. As for Yang Wu, he was not always in seclusion. To him, cultivation was just a matter of time. He would occasionally refine pills, and occasionally go to the Medicine God Hall to teach. He left behind many pill formulas. With his help, the 9 Palace Masters' ability to refine pills increased a lot. As the Medicine God Hall's Divine Master, he would not be stingy with these methods. In addition, he would also occasionally give pointers to the people around Wuhobang, including his 3 wives and his capable subordinates, helping them to cultivate immortal arts and skills. Now, the strongest was Ziyuyu, a quasi-emperor. Even emperor-level cultivators might not be her match. Ziyuyu was also a person with immortal roots, so her cultivation speed had never been slow. Xu Yujun and Wan Lanxin had only built 5 divine palaces, reaching the realm of 5 suns. However, their foundations were incomparably strong. This was the result of Yang Wu's repeated polishing. Their talents were not good, so they needed a stronger foundation to be able to go further. In addition, Du Xiaojing's cultivation was not slow either. She had reached the realm of 7 suns, and was only one step away from becoming a quasi-emperor. She did not stay in Wuhobang to cultivate. Instead, she went to find her opportunity with Qua Fu, who had entered the emperor realm. Yang Wu had passed on everything to her. It was only a matter of time before she became a quasi-emperor. The only thing that bothered her was her father's death and the destruction of the heavenly emperor hall. She was ruthless to herself because she wanted to take revenge as soon as possible. Now, Yang Wu had been holed up in Wuhobang. What was he trying to do? To brand the immortal Tao and build a supreme divine palace. Yang Wu chose a different cultivation path. He only built the divine palace in his Dantian. The other divine palaces were also branded with the Great Tao, but they were not real divine palaces. He rebranded the divine palaces with the immortal Tao. The martial path of his past and present life needed time to transform. Even if his cultivation talent was amazing, he still needed some time to complete it. In his dojo, waves of immortal qi surged. At times, it would transform into a lifelike black tortoise. At other times, it would ripple like an ocean and roar like a tsunami. The immortal Tao was an upgrade of the martial path. He once stood at the peak of the immortal world. His understanding of the immortal Tao was not something that others could compare to. Now, many martial paths had transformed into the immortal Tao. His temperament was even more extraordinary. Endless immortal Tao flowed in the divine palace in his Dantian, transforming the Xian Qi of heaven and earth. He absorbed into immortal Qi. The taste was in every part of his body, especially his internal organs. When his internal organs were filled with immortal Qi and transformed into divine palaces, it would be amazing. This was the cultivation method that he had been studying. He wanted to build a real divine palace, and then 9 non-real divine palaces. He wanted to break the shackles of the 9 suns and achieve the 10 suns realm. What kind of scenery would that be? The idea is good, but it is difficult to achieve. Yang Wu sighed softly. Since ancient times, who dared to dream of building the 10 suns? Even if the body was tempered to the extreme, it could not take that step. There were once living beings who tried, but they were all killed by the violent power. If Yang Wu wanted to walk that path, it would not be easy. At that moment, little He came to Yang Wu and said, Sun Do went to attack the ruined immortal palace. He is not safe. Let him be, said Yang Wu indifferently. I discovered that the empty palace's people appeared near the battlefield of divine clouds again. If I didn't add a few more tricks, they would have discovered us. Also, I suspect that they are looking for the human world. It seems that the empty palace emperor still wants the world spirit of the human world. But what's the point of doing that? The immortal of the human world can be said to be the venerable immortal. Who doesn't want it? At most, he is just doing something for that insect. Yes, keep a close watch. The battlefield of divine clouds is an important place to return to the human world. Don't let anyone discover it. Even if the divine world has the ability to directly project into the human world, they can't get close at all. The world spirit will not make a mistake again. Don't worry, I know what to do. Also, I found a broken celestial river in the void. I'm afraid it will not be long before we get close to the divine world. Perhaps it can help Master increase his strength faster and also help them comprehend the immortal Tao. A celestial river in the divine world? Looks like this epic is destined to be extraordinary. Yang Wu was surprised. Then, he ordered, gather all living beings above the martial god level and announce that they can enter the celestial river to cultivate. Each prefecture is limited to 10,000 people. So many? Exclaimed little He. Don't you want to increase your strength faster? So what if we give them a chance? Besides, we are not the only ones who found it. It will definitely cause a big commotion. Mingzi and the others will definitely know. There will definitely be some competition. However, as long as they don't get too greedy, the Celestial River will not be too dangerous. The news of the broken Celestial River appearing outside the Divine World swept through the entire Divine World like a storm. It was said that the broken Celestial River came from a secret realm in the Celestial World. It had been abandoned by the Celestial World, or it had been abandoned by the Celestial World after a fierce battle. It flowed through the endless void. No one knew how long it would take to reach the Divine World. It was a great opportunity, a chance to become an immortal. There were not only immortal items there, but also immortal-level inheritances. Anyone who could enter would have a chance to reach the heavens in a single step. The Medicine God Hall and Wuho Gang announced that each prefecture could allow 10,000 martial gods to enter. There was no limit to the true god level. The other prefectures followed suit. Entering the broken Celestial River was a heaven-defying opportunity. However, it was also full of danger. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. Chapter 1823. The broken immortal river wasn't a river, but a space formed by countless immortal chi. It looked like a river with countless sparkling energy gathered together. It could be considered a world that contained all kinds of great Taos. There was even a broken immortal Tao that could sense the will of the immortal Tao and condense it into immortal Tao. There were also some immortal root seeds. If the martial gods obtained immortal root seeds, they could become immortal bodies in one step and their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Such an opportunity was hard to come by in 10,000 years. This place was destined to become the most intense place of competition in the God realm. However, the various powers of the God realm had an agreement that true gods couldn't interfere in the competition between gods. Thus, true gods could only compete with true gods for opportunities. They were divided into two groups of beings of different levels, so that those who entered wouldn't have a chance. In the broken immortal river, there were 3 layers of barriers. The first layer was most suitable for gods to fight over as there were all kinds of ruins. The second layer was for true gods to fight over. The third layer depended on one's own opportunities. Whoever could enter would have a chance to obtain a higher level opportunity, but at the same time they would face danger. In this broken immortal river, there were some remnant beings of the immortal world. They flowed along with this immortal river and were slowly growing. They had incomparably powerful strength that ordinary beings couldn't resist. After millions of beings from the God realm rushed in, the remnant beings there immediately sensed it. They all erupted with powerful strength and fiercely fought with the beings of the God realm. Yang Wu didn't care about this. After he brought everyone here, he said, "Once you're here, it's up to fate. It all depends on your own luck. This immortal river will exist for about 10 years. 10 years is equivalent to a year in the outside world. You can count the time yourselves. If you don't leave before the time is up, you might become a creature here and never leave." "Father, don't worry. All the immortal opportunities here will be ours," Yang Qianquan said arrogantly. Yang Wushuang knocked Yang Qianquan's head and said, "Don't be so arrogant. We'll take 90% and leave some leftovers for others." "Sister is right." Yang Qianquan humbly accepted the advice. "Alright, it's up to your own luck. I don't care how many opportunities you can obtain. In short, safety first." Yang Wu instructed, then swept up Yu Yu, Shu Yujun, and Wan Lanxin, and went deeper into the second floor. He was only responsible for taking care of his own woman. It didn't matter if others scolded him for valuing his lover over his friends. "Let's go too," the others shouted in unison. This immortal river was filled with immortal chi. At the same time, it also contained irregular energy. It was impossible to casually absorb immortal chi. The irregular energy would cause great harm to them. They could only collect it or refine it before absorbing it. In the direction of the ruined immortal hall, there were also youngsters who shouted, "This place is all ours." This young man was riding on top of an ice dragon. His body emitted an absolute cold aura, appearing incomparably mighty. He was the young master of the ruined immortal hall, Kuan Ling Xian. He was the son of Kuan Mingzi. Many years ago, he and Ruan Dongni had a child. He was carefully taught by Kuan Mingzi. He was born with immortal root. Before he was 100 years old, he had already reached the peak of the deity level. He claimed that he could sweep away all deity-level creatures. Other than him, there were a few other youths beside him. They were all extraordinary divine sons and divine daughters of the ruined immortal hall. They were all his followers. Soon, the battle began. There were immortal ruins. There were immortal Tao imprinted there. There were immortal skills. All creatures could cultivate there. However, those powerful creatures wouldn't share them with others. This was especially true for Kuan Ling Xian. He had been spoiled since he was young. The way he did things was rather ruthless. He wouldn't allow others to fight for anything he set his eyes on. Especially when he encountered people from the Wuhou gang, he was even more excited. Wuhou gang is nothing. Kill all of them. When Kuan Ling Xian saw a few people from the Wuhou gang, he directly gave the order to kill them. These people joined the Wuhou gang and received resources to cultivate. Their strength wasn't bad. However, they weren't a match for Kuan Ling Xian and the others. Soon, they were massacred. Not only that, as long as it was someone related to the Wuhou gang, they would attack. They were incomparably domineering. Yang Wu's children had already entered the true deity realm and headed to the second level. In the first level, who could fight against him? Wuhou gang's #1 deity realm expert was Shensi. Until now, he hadn't entered the true deity realm. It wasn't that he didn't want to cross that step, but rather that after listening to Yang Wu's teachings, he always wanted to comprehend the immortal Tao before entering the true deity realm. That way, he would become incomparably powerful. During these years, Shensi's cultivation became stronger and stronger. It wasn't a problem for him to be able to fight those above his level. He could enter the true deity realm at any time. However, he didn't do so. Finally, the opportunity in front of him arrived. Now, he stopped in front of a fire domain. There were strands of immortal flame energy here. This was the power of the immortal Tao. Ordinary people couldn't get close to it. There were also some special creatures formed here. Those were fire spirits. Their firepower was incomparably pure. Moreover, they had a domain with traces of the immortal Tao. They weren't easy to deal with, but as long as they were destroyed, they could obtain the immortal Tao fire seed. Shensi and the others from the Wuhou gang were together. They all cultivated firepower. Among them was Yang Wu's disciple, Shui Xiaofan. This person had also reached the peak of the deity realm. He hadn't entered the true deity realm, but his refining skills had already reached the true deity realm. Shui Xiaofan had always been low-key. Not many people knew that he was Yang Wu's disciple. Shensi was one of them. They worked together to suppress the fire spirits and absorb their fire seeds to strengthen their own firepower. At this moment, Kuan Ling Xian and the others attacked. Among them, there was a god's son with the primordial flame body. He was Kuan Ling Xian's #1 general. His name was Zhang Jingyi. He needed the fire seeds of this place. People from the Wuhou gang again. Don't let a single one of them go. Kuan Ling Xian rode on an ice dragon and waved his hand. Your Highness, leave it to me. Zhang Jingyi stepped forward and said. His entire body was covered in primordial flame. He looked like the son of the fire god. He pointed his halberd at Shensi and Shui Xiaofan and shouted, Come and die! Zhang Jingyi of the ruined immortal palace. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. Shensi said. He jumped into the air and waved his qilin arm. A qilin roared and attacked Zhang Jingyi. They were all super martial gods. They had extraordinary fame in the god world. Who was stronger and who was weaker? You can't, Zhang Jingyi replied. He waved his halberd and a primordial beast appeared. It opened its mouth and tried to swallow the Qilin. More primordial flame enveloped Huoshensi. The torrential flames had already given birth to the power of divine chains. Huoshensi was not afraid. His body had reached an extremely powerful level. He also had a true god-level fire seed. He turned into a Qilin and rushed forward. Huoshensi was no longer the nine deities' great master of the past. He was no longer focused on alchemy. He was a strong cultivator who had been refined by Yang Wu's immortal elixir. He already had the power to become a true god, but he didn't do so. He kept on strengthening his fire seed. He was like an invincible Qilin. He exploded with a primordial power and tore apart Zhang Jingyi's primordial flame. Zhang Jingyi had the primordial flame body. Of course, he was not ordinary. He also cultivated immortal technique. His primordial flame body condensed on his halberd. Boundless halberd shadows formed a primordial flame domain. One halberd strike after another, forcing Huoshensi to retreat. The primordial flame would always be the king of all flames, just like how the primordial lightning was the most powerful type of heavenly lightning. Zhang Jingyi used his immortal techniques to force Huoshensi back again and again. However, Huoshensi did not panic. He went into a defensive stance. As long as he was given the slightest chance, he would be able to turn defeat into victory. And this time, the opportunity appeared very quickly. He took advantage of the slight opening and shot out a fire finger. Fire finger. This was a finger technique he created himself. It fused with the Tao of alchemy. It compressed a boundless flame and broke through layers of primordial flame. It landed on Zhang Jingyi's eyes and exploded. Bang! Zhang Jingyi didn't expect Huoshensi to have such a magical finger technique. His face was blasted open and one of his eyes was almost blinded. After Huoshensi succeeded, he roared, "I'll tear you apart alive!" The Qilin's aura surged. Powerful attacks came down one after another, wanting to kill Zhang Jingyi. "Enough, stop here!" Kuan Ling Xian shouted. Then, he ordered the 8 women beside him, "You guys, attack!" The 8 maids were all Kuan Ling Xian's subordinate. They were all women with outstanding talent. They were like fairies, each holding a long sword and attacking at the same time. They slashed out from different positions. Strands of divine power interweaved into a sword net, trapping Huoshensi within. Sword shadows came down one after another. The terrifying destructive power was something even true gods couldn't block. This was an 8 immortals formation. They were all at the same level and their minds were connected. They amplified the formation to the maximum. Wu Ho helped the others to stop them, but before their attacks could land on the 8 maids, they were all drowned out by the boundless sword qi, and could not pose any threat at all. Furthermore, there was still power that swept towards them, cutting their divine armors to pieces, and divine blood splattered everywhere. Huoshensi shouted and turned into a huge Qilin. Raging flames turned into a sea of fire. One after another, fiery fists came out and landed on the 8 maids. Boom! Boom! The fists were shocking. They contained the power of divine chains, but they still couldn't break the sword net. Instead, many of the fists were cut apart. The crisscrossing sword qi covered Huoshensi. A fire god picture appeared above Huoshensi's head. Boundless light blocked the attacks of the 8 maids. He shouted, "I'll protect you and leave." Kuan Ling Xian hadn't attacked yet, but he couldn't hold on anymore. If he didn't leave now, he would be killed by others. Don't let them escape. Attack with all your power. Kuan Ling Xian smiled evilly. Do you think I don't exist? Just as Huoshensi couldn't hold on anymore, Xue Xiaofan attacked. A huge hammer swung down, as if the sky was falling down. Bang! Chapter 1824. Xue Xiaofan had always been very ordinary. He had been an honest blacksmith, and had become one of the most outstanding blacksmiths in the god realm. He had also become the pavilion master of Wuho Gang's blacksmith pavilion. Without entering the realm of true gods, he could already make true god weapons. Everyone knew that his blacksmithing skills were extraordinary, but they never knew how strong he was. They didn't even think that he was that strong. Blacksmiths were the same as alchemists. They focused on their profession, so their fighting strength was usually not that strong. However, they had all forgotten who Xue Xiaofan's master was. He was the leader of Wuhou Gang, one of the strongest giants in the god realm in the future. As his disciple, how weak could he be? After Yang Wu recovered his memories, he had already passed down the blacksmithing skills of the immortal realm to Xue Xiaofan. Xue Xiaofan was very hard-working and created many high-quality divine weapons. Later on, he fought less and less, focusing on cultivation and improving his blacksmithing skills. Only when his skills were refined could he create more extraordinary weapons. The war hammer in his hand was his best work. It was called the 10,000 Kadi hammer. Could break the heavens and earth with one strike. The bloodline power in his body had already become very strong. He used his incomparable strength to break through the 8 maids' joint attack with one strike. The 8 maids didn't stop there. Instead, they increased their strength, forming a sword net that became denser and denser. They were like the masters of heaven and earth, able to harvest all living things. How many strikes could Xue Xiaofan's heavy hammer make? You don't know what's good for you, Xue Xiaofan replied. His body flowed with waves of fire energy and brute force. He raised the hammer with one hand and swung it again. A lot of power lingered on his 10,000 Kadi hammer. The nearby firepower was all drawn by him. He swung the hammer again and again with incomparable power. Bang! 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 Xue Xiaofan used the sword net as if it was made of iron. He kept swinging it, ignoring the sword net that cut his body. He destroyed all of the sword energy. It was very domineering. The sword chi that cut his body was unable to break through the battle armor on his body. This was a full set of battle armor. From head to toe, every part of his body was covered. Unless it was a true god of 4 suns or above, no one could harm him. He was already in an invincible position. Violent, too violent! Fire Shensi exclaimed. This was the first time he had seen Xue Xiaofan fight, and he couldn't help but feel that it was too domineering. Xue Xiaofan seemed to only know one move. After dozens of attacks, the swords in the hands of the 8 maidservants were all broken. Hua Shensi and the others rushed out and attacked Kunling Xian. Trash! Goddess Kunling said with dissatisfaction. She personally took action. Her sword chilled the 9 provinces, injuring Hua Shensi and the people of the Wuhou Gang. Icy Qi attacked them, directly freezing them. The flames on Hua Shensi's body were barely able to resist, but the others did not have the ability to do so. The gap is so big. Hua Shensi broke out in a cold sweat. He had always thought that he was invincible in the god level, but now he realized that he was still far from being a match for a god-level deity. Kunling Xian's sword once again slashed over. Xue Xiaofan went up to block it. With a swing of his hammer, it was as if tens of thousands of weapons had appeared, all of them slashing towards Kunling Xian. This was his path of weapon refinement. One hammer to create a weapon. Xue Xiaofan's body kept growing, and his strength kept increasing. He blocked Kunling Xian's cold sword. At the same time, the fire energy on his body kept surging, expelling the cold energy. You have some ability, but it's still not enough to stop me, Kunling Xian said. The second sword fell, and the air became extremely cold. Even the fire region was affected. After the sword light fell, it was as if there were countless snowflakes surrounding Xue Xiaofan. Each sword energy flowed extremely quickly, smashing onto Xue Xiaofan's body, trying to pierce through his defensive armor. Swoosh swoosh. This was sword power that touched upon the immortal Tao. Xue Xiaofan couldn't catch the countless cold swords. He might not be able to block them with just one hammer. He shouted, "If one weapon can't block it, then use 10. In an instant, one true god-level weapon after another flew out, forming an area of weapons. He seemed to have 3 heads and 6 arms, grabbing these weapons and smashing them. Many waves of fire were like spears, knives, and swords, completely sealing off Kunling Xian's attack. Kunling Xian kept increasing his attack. Even though Xue Xiaofan was extremely strong, it was difficult to block. He was already showing signs of defeat. Xue Xiaofan had to protect Hua Shenxi and the others and retreat. After they retreated, Kunling Xian became even more arrogant, saying that he was the #1 god-level deity. Kunling Xian didn't keep looking for trouble either. After he defeated the people of Wuhogang, he found a cold place to cultivate and continue to increase his strength. In the first level of the Immortal River, battles broke out everywhere, but compared to the second level, it was child's play. The second level contained even more immortal items, and the destructive power of a true god was even more terrifying. It wasn't easy for anyone to dominate the true god realm. Even people like Yang Wu and Kuan Mingzi didn't do such a thing. They each occupied an area and began to replenish their immortal Tao. Yang Wu brought Ziyuyu to a place containing immortal lightning. This was a power formed by the Tao of immortal lightning. Only those who had comprehended the Tao of immortal lightning could enter. There were also lightning flood dragons, lightning snakes, and other creatures here. They were extremely powerful, and there were even emperor-level creatures. It wasn't easy to cultivate here. Yang Wu personally opened up a pure land for her, allowing her to cultivate and comprehend here. He also needed to comprehend, but the speed of his comprehension was very fast. When he was done, he said, "You can cultivate here. I'll bring you Jun and Wan Xin to other places. Go, or else the 2 of them will say you're biased." Ziyuyu smiled. "Then you be careful," Yang Wu said, and then rushed out of this place. Other than Yang Wu, only Kuan Mingzi could come and go as he pleased in this immortal Tao place. At this moment, Kuan Mingzi brought Ruan Dongni, Song Tsang, and the others through these immortal Tao places. As long as they could rebrand their immortal Tao, their strength would recover a step further. Even if they couldn't recover to the immortal realm, they could still sweep through the god realm as sub-immortals. Yang Wu brought Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin to a lake. This place looked tranquil and sparkled with immortal light. There were even immortal carps jumping about in the lake, and there were life lotuses growing in it. It was an excellent place for immortals. Even though this place seemed peaceful, the moment a living being of a foreign race dashed out at the surface of the lake, a surge of energy rippled out and shredded that living being to death. Instantly, the surrounding creatures didn't dare to act rashly. What a domineering energy! Even an emperor-level expert can't withstand it. It's the power of the immortal Tao. If you can't comprehend it, you can't enter the lake. It's the same as the divine chains of the divine palace. Let's see who can comprehend the immortal Tao here faster. That's the life lotus. I won't give it up. The creatures here sat down cross-legged and began to comprehend the immortal Tao. There was also a domineering creature that shouted, "This place belongs to my tribe. Hurry up and scram." This was the Golden Crab tribe. This was a very powerful tribe of water demons. After they transformed, their bodies were also suffused with golden light. Their arms still retained the appearance of crab claws. There were a total of 7 true gods here, and the leader was a sub-emperor golden crab. That's why they were so arrogant. A foreign race creature with blue patterns on his body shouted, "Who do you think you are? You think you can occupy this lake? If you don't accept it, then kill." The golden crab shouted. A golden crab flew out. A huge golden pincer stretched out. Its speed was so fast that it was hard to detect. The blue-patterned foreign race creature didn't have time to retreat before he was clamped by this pincer. His divine body was clamped in half. Before his body could reassemble, a golden light floated and this creature's divine body was directly destroyed. A foreign race creature that was comparable to the 6th Sun realm was finished just like that. Who else doesn't accept it? The Golden Crab Sub-Emperor shouted. The Sub-Emperor aura on his body spread out in all directions, scaring away many creatures. Yujun, Lan Xin, this place is very suitable for you to cultivate. If you sit in the Divine Lotus and cultivate in seclusion for a period of time, you can build the next Divine Palace. Not far away, someone spoke. It was as if the immortal lotus in the lake had already been decided. 3 divine lotuses. The 3 of us husband and wife are just right. Shu Yujun said. Amen, I feel that it is incomparably compatible with my martial path. It is possible to build 1 or 2 divine palaces. Wan Lanxin also said. The 2 of them still maintained their youthful appearance. They didn't look old at all. Instead, they had a bit more flirtatious charm. They were more moving than many young women. Since that is the case, let's reserve the place. Yang Wu said casually. The other creatures looked at them with strange expressions. Some humans recognized Yang Wu's identity, but the other races didn't recognize them. Yang Wu's name resounded throughout the god realm. Many races knew of his existence, but there were also some ancient races that rarely came out. For example, the golden crabs specialized in the golden water path. They rarely came out and had always lived in the river. They didn't know who Yang Wu was. Naturally, they didn't put Yang Wu's group in their eyes. Reckless. A golden crab said. A huge golden pincer came towards them, wanting to clamp the 3 of them to death. Madams, please wait a moment. There are some big crabs that don't want to submit. I will go catch them and roast them. Yang Wu said. He raised his hand and grabbed the pincer. Then, he pulled and threw the golden crab towards the lake. No! The golden crab was so scared that it peed. There was immortal energy in the lake. If it were to smash into it, would it have any chance of survival? Bang! Sure enough, the golden crab was killed by the immortal energy in the lake. There was no suspense at all. You guys leave a crab pincer each. I will roast it to nourish the 2 madams. If they are satisfied, you can leave. If not, you will end up like that guy just now. Yang Wu stared at the golden crab and laughed. Chapter 1825. The golden crab was the king of all crabs, the king of all aquatic beasts. It was hard to find an opponent in the water realm. Even if it was a flood dragon or a giant shark, they could still kill it with their pincers. This young man in front of them was asking for their golden pincers. You killed my comrade. We'll eat you alive. The golden crab quasi-emperor said coldly. He released a golden wave from his body. The incomparably heavy golden wave swept towards Yang Wu. It didn't seem like a wave, but an indestructible golden evil chi. It transformed into a giant pincer and clamped down. Heaven and earth were just a matter of clamping down. You'll have to pay the price for being disobedient. Yang Wu met the attack head-on. He reached out with a palm that seemed to contain the universe and grabbed the golden wave. Then, he reached out with another palm and slapped at the golden crab. The immortal Tao in the surroundings was activated by him. A blue lotus bloomed with boundless immortal chi and suppressed the golden crab. Impossible! How can you use the power here? The golden crab yelled. He didn't dare to fight back and turned to flee with his comrade. The immortal Tao wasn't his match at all. Unfortunately, he couldn't escape at all. The immortal chi suppressed him under the blue lotus. He roared unwillingly, "Let me go!" The golden wave turned into thousands of sharp blades that slashed at the immortal chi. The golden crab legs were like golden weapons that waved continuously. However, it was useless and couldn't struggle at all. The other golden crabs were the same. They were all enveloped by the immortal Tao lotus and couldn't escape at all. All of the nearby spectators were scared away. In this immortal river, anyone who could use the immortal Tao was almost invincible. There wasn't much point in them staying here. I only wanted to eat your pincers. Now I've even eaten your roe. I wonder if you have a female crab here. Yang Wu walked over and said, "We admit our mistake. Let us go and we'll let this matter pass." The golden crab quasi-emperor said arrogantly. As soon as he finished speaking, an immortal Tao energy slashed down like a blade and cut off one of his pincers. Golden blood gushed out. You! How dare you do this? Don't you know who I am? The golden crab was shocked. Idiot! Yang Wu cursed and chopped off the pincers of the other golden crabs. They were powerful, and it was not difficult for them to regrow their severed limbs. However, they were restrained by the power of the immortal Tao, so they could not use their strength at all. Yang Wu brought over the golden crab pincers one after another. A streak of flames swept past and roasted them. Then, he added a bit of divine medicine to mix them together. Immediately, a fragrant aroma filled the air. The golden crab creature's expression was extremely unsightly, but he knew that this mysterious man was too powerful. He didn't dare speak carelessly, or else he might not be able to keep his life. Ladies, come and have a taste of my cooking. Yang Wu brought the barbecue to the two ladies. Husband, you're the best. Shu Yujun revealed a blissful expression. Husband is so good to us because he's afraid that we'll be jealous of you. Wan Lanxin said as she unceremoniously ate the golden crab pincer. Then she sighed and said, so delicious, the power it contains is so strong. Lan Xin, if you want to eat, I'll make more for you. Roast them all. Yang Wu said. The golden crab was so scared that he peed his pants. That quasi-emperor shouted, I'm already about to become an emperor. Don't eat me, I'm willing to compensate. I have golden god water here, it's very useful for your cultivation. If I eat you, I can also get golden god water. Yang Wu said indifferently. The golden crab quasi-emperor completely collapsed and hurriedly shouted, this little crab has eyes but does not recognize Mount Tai. Please be magnanimous, I'm willing to submit. It was not easy for him to cultivate to his current cultivation. He did not want to die like this. Wouldn't it have been better if you did this earlier? You just had to force me to use force. Yang Wu said as he used the power of the immortal Tao to cut off the golden crab's other pincer. The power contained in the golden crab's pincer of the quasi-emperor level was naturally not bad. The golden crab was really scared and kept begging for mercy. Originally, it wanted to ask for an immortal fate to take a step forward. Who would have thought that it would become someone's meal the moment it was born? Its luck was too bad. Yang Wu did not kill them. Instead, he planned to bring them to the lake to cultivate. As long as they did not get close to the lotus, it would be fine. The golden crab was very rare. It was naturally best if it could be used by him. The golden crab could be considered a blessing in disguise. It just depended on whether they could grasp the opportunity in front of them. In fact, even if they obtained this lake, they would not be able to get close. How could the immortal Tao here be so easy to comprehend? Yang Wu tore apart the immortal Tao power here and sent Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin to the lotus. This was the place with the densest immortal qi. Waves of immortal light floated, intoxicating. The lake was imbued with immortal qi and could be called a divine spring. After the golden crab was thrown in, their severed limbs regrown and their strength rapidly increased. Cultivate here in peace. Do not move. The immortal Tao power here can destroy you at any time. Yang Wu transmitted his voice to them. Yes. The golden crab responded in unison. Yang Wu didn't pay any more attention to them. He began to impart the Tao to the two women, telling them how to comprehend the immortal Tao here. With the immortal lotus, it was not difficult for them to comprehend the immortal Tao here. Yang Wu sat cross-legged on the lotus in the middle. He crazily absorbed the immortal Tao imprinted on the lotus. His Dantian's divine palace was imprinted with the immortal Tao power of the lotus. More than half of the lake's immortal qi had been absorbed by him. If he did not stop, he could have absorbed all the immortal qi here. With the immortal Tao of the lotus, my Tao of life and death can be improved. Yang Wu murmured and entered a state of Tao enlightenment. Soon, immortal qi floated around his body and immortal lotuses condensed. He was solemn and sacred as his aura climbed steadily. His divine palace was becoming stronger and his soul was also being nourished. He was slowly building his immortal body. Many creatures who came here wanted to fight for this opportunity. They wanted to force their way in but were directly killed by the immortal Tao power. They could not get close at all. This also dispelled the other creatures' thoughts. Some bad creatures even wanted to interrupt Yang Wu's cultivation. The result was a complete tragedy. Yang Wu was cultivating but he was also multitasking to control the immortal Tao power here. Yang Wu's cultivation speed was not comparable to Shu Yujun and Wan Lanxin. After he finished cultivating, he walked out of the lake and set up an illusion formation here. Then, he went to the other immortal ruins. With a natural barrier, he was not worried about anything happening to the two girls. As for the golden crab, he did not care about them at all. He still left a clone here. If they dared to rebel, he would directly kill them. Next, let's focus on building my immortal soul. Yang Wu chose his goal. He had been accumulating for the past 100 years. Now, the power in the immortal river could indeed help him increase his strength by a lot. Even if he couldn't become an immortal, it shouldn't be difficult for him to reach the subimmortal realm. Now, his soul was improving the fastest, reaching the Emperor realm. He would first build his immortal soul and then his immortal body. In terms of immortal Tao comprehension, no one could compare to him. As long as he built these two aspects, becoming an immortal was just a matter of time. In the next few days, he walked around the immortal river and found many immortal ruins. There were places where mountains were cut open by immortal swords, and there were also secret techniques carved by immortals. He didn't take a look at any of them. He didn't care about such low-level immortal opportunities. What he needed were the immortal chi and immortal herbs here. Many creatures fought intensely for the sake of these immortal opportunities. Many powerful creatures fell here. Yang Wu didn't interfere. Since he chose this path, he had to be prepared to die. Soon, he finally found an immortal soul grass. However, many creatures were fighting for it, including the remnant immortals of the remnant immortal hall. The immortal soul grass was from some creatures in the immortal river. They were plant creatures, demon-eating flowers and god-ghost trees. They had been nourished by immortal chi for a long time and had incomparably powerful strength. Once one got close, one would be devoured by them. After Yang Wu arrived, he directly walked towards the immortal soul grass. He wasn't afraid of these demon-eating flowers and god-ghost trees at all. He also ignored the creatures fighting for it. We have been here for so long. How can it be so easy for you to take the immortal grass? A foreign life form with 8 wings shouted. His 8 wings flapped together, and a terrifying storm swept towards Yang Wu. The limitless slicing power was enough to threaten a quasi-emperor. Yang Wu completely ignored it. After the shockwaves passed by, Yang Wu continued walking forward unscathed, causing a look of shock to appear on the face of the alien being. Someone from the remnant immortal hall said, "This person is the leader of the martial marquis gang, Yang Wu. He is known as the #1 person in the god world. None of you are his match. This immortal grass is not fated with us." After speaking, the people from the remnant immortal hall retreated. They purposely stirred up trouble, hoping that stronger creatures would attack Yang Wu. In addition, Kuan Mingzi also told them to stay away from Yang Wu and not make unnecessary sacrifices. #1 person in the god world? Let me think about it. A ghost race creature shouted. A ghost banner waved and countless ghost shadows surged towards Yang Wu, attacking Yang Wu's divine courtyard. Wu. The countless ghost shadows caused one's heart to tremble. Other than attacking one's soul, they also created terrifying illusions. It was as if one's body was being devoured by these ghosts. Die. Yang Wu didn't want to cause trouble, but since there was someone who didn't know better, he wouldn't be polite. He turned around and opened his soul eye. That I could kill all the creatures in the world. That ghost race creature who was about to reach the sub-emperor level was glared at by the soul eye. He instantly felt his soul collapse and couldn't gather again. He died on the spot. The surrounding creatures were all shocked. That ghost race creature was so difficult to deal with. He died after being glared at? Yang Wu ignored these creatures and continued to walk inside. The demon-devouring flower and god ghost tree also moved. A huge flower that seemed to have countless sharp teeth flew towards him. Countless tree vines quickly extended and bound him, not allowing him to get close to the immortal soul grass. Moreover, there were also emperor-level creatures attacking him. Chapter 1826. Demon-devouring flower was a terrifying plant that could even devour great demons. It also contained a terrifying poison. Even monarch-level creatures would have to think twice before approaching it. The god ghost tree was even more so. Its endless vines could bind and attack like a spear. It was almost invincible in its territory. These two plants attacking at the same time posed a great threat. Moreover, there was another monarch-level creature attacking. It was a rat demon, the purple gold heaven-swallowing rat, the king of rats. This guy had been hiding very well. He didn't show any mercy when he attacked. A golden light shot out like a monarch-level weapon towards Yang Wu's back. There were two plants attacking from the front and the purple gold heaven-swallowing rat attacking from the back. How could Yang Wu defend himself? The creatures watching from afar stared at this scene to see what kind of heaven-defying methods this divine Lord Wu Ho had. They saw that Yang Wu didn't seem to feel these attacks. He didn't react at all. The black tortoise battle armor rose from his body. The 8 trigrams flowed and expanded, forming layers of defense around him. The power attacking him was all deflected. The demon-devouring flower's teeth and the god ghost tree's vines were all cut off by the battle armor's reversal power. They didn't just deflect the power, they also counterattacked. The purple gold heaven-swallowing rat's invincible power couldn't hurt Yang Wu at all. In 100 years of cultivation, Yang Wu didn't deliberately increase his strength. Instead, he constantly strengthened his martial arts, making each of his martial arts head towards the immortal Tao. This was where he became stronger. Rat, I didn't care about you just now because I thought you were tactful. Now it seems that you're still a rat. Yang Wu turned around and said. The Yu Yen True God spear appeared in his hand and stabbed towards the purple gold heaven-swallowing rat. The spear stabbed out and the sky changed color. It was as if this spear was the only thing left in the world. It was surrounded by immortal energy, overbearing beyond compare. In the land of Immortal River, Yang Wu's immortal Tao was invincible. What was the immortal Tao? It was a breakthrough after reaching the limit of martial arts. It could perfectly fuse with immortal energy and explode with overbearing power. One's control of power had reached perfection. After Yang Wu fused with the memories of his previous life, the immortal Tao was slowly recovering. If it wasn't for the lack of immortal energy in this world, his strength would have become extremely terrifying. The purple gold heaven-swallowing rat's hair stood on end. Before he could even dodge, the spear light had already arrived in front of him. The surrounding immortal chi forcefully sealed him, and he couldn't move at all. He screamed, "I'm going all out!" A golden emperor's claw flew out from his body and grabbed at the spear. The golden light could tear the sky and the earth apart. Bang! The emperor's claw was sent flying. The spear's momentum was so strong that it directly pierced the emperor's claw into the mountain behind him. The mountain collapsed, but the emperor's claw was still being stared at. Fresh blood gushed out. When everyone saw this scene, they all widened their eyes and were extremely shocked. To monarch level. How terrifying was Yang Wu's strength. Yang Wu didn't care about these creatures. He didn't pull out True God Yu Yen's spear. Blue demoness surged around him. It burned the demon-eating flower and god ghost tree that continued to attack him. It was as if these top-level plant life forms had met their nemesis. They were so scared that they quickly shrank back, not daring to touch the immortal fire at all. Some of them couldn't shrink back in time and were directly burned to ashes. No matter how they struggled, they couldn't escape. Yang Wu walked in front of the immortal soul grass as if he was walking on flat ground. It transformed into a terrifying demonic face and pounced at Yang Wu. It looked very scary. Divine herbs could fly, let alone immortal herbs. It also had the ability to protect itself. This soul attack could threaten a true god, but it was nothing to Yang Wu. He spat out a mouthful of essence qi and destroyed the soul power. The immortal soul grass couldn't escape. The space around it had been enveloped by Yang Wu. It became his immortal item. When the other creatures saw this, they all turned and left. They had no fate with the immortal soul grass. It was better to find other immortal items. As for the purple gold heaven swallowing rat, it was still pinned. No matter how it struggled, it couldn't escape. So what if it was an monarch-level creature? Do you submit? Yang Wu asked the purple gold heaven swallowing rat. Submit! The purple gold heaven swallowing rat said without hesitation. All right. Yang Wu responded, and with a grab of his hand, he took the purple gold heaven devouring rat back. However, just as the purple gold heaven swallowing rat escaped, it immediately escaped. It didn't want to become Yang Wu's subordinate. You want me to submit? In your next life, the purple gold heaven swallowing rat shouted. It was already deep underground. Its speed of escape was very fast. It didn't think Yang Wu could do anything to it. Unfortunately, it overestimated its own ability and underestimated Yang Wu's strength. Yang Wu opened his third eye. Everything in heaven and earth was revealed. A soul power broke through the air. It contained the might of immortal Tao. It fiercely barged into the purple gold heaven swallowing rat's demon soul. It only felt a boom and its demon soul was directly erased. From then on, there was an immortal corpse of the purple gold heaven swallowing rat in this immortal river. When Yang Wu opened his soul eye, he discovered that there were immortal items in the ground. He exclaimed softly, "There are immortal crystals." Spiritual stones and immortal stones were energy absorbed by the warriors of the immortal realm. Immortal crystals were energy used by immortals to increase their cultivation. It was also the currency of the immortal realm. Yang Wu came to the immortal river and didn't notice that there were immortal crystals in the ground. He reached down and grabbed a few pieces of immortal crystals. He then crushed them and absorbed the energy of these immortal crystals. Immediately, he felt a pure energy flowing through his body. It was very comfortable. He murmured, "It's just an ordinary low-grade immortal crystal. It also contains impurities, but it's enough for me now." Next, he collected some immortal crystals nearby. Then, he entered a state of seclusion in a place filled with immortal Tao energy. This time, he wouldn't be in seclusion for too long. It would only take 10 days to half a month. He directly refined the immortal soul grass and many immortal crystals. He channeled most of the energy into the immortal court to help the moon soul battle body increase its level. When he absorbed the immortal soul grass, he immediately discovered that this immortal soul grass hadn't completely reached the immortal grade. It could only be considered a quasi-immortal grass. It should have something to do with the power of heaven and earth. Even so, it was enough to help his moon soul battle body reach the peak of the Emperor realm. He refined those immortal crystals and imprinted more immortal Tao. His physical body's level was also increasing. The divine palace in his Dantian became bigger and more extraordinary. The 8th divine palace was imprinted with immortal Tao, reaching the half-emperor realm. Immortal Qi surged from where he was. Waves of immortal Qi floated, causing many creatures to think that an immortal item had appeared. They madly rushed over here. If it wasn't for the formation here, many people would have seen Yang Wu cultivating. Yang Wu quickly came out of seclusion. His aura rose by a lot. He murmured, "The power of the immortal realm is still weak. If I want to complete the immortal Tao, I have to completely refine this immortal river. Unfortunately, my level is still too low. I can't do it." He broke out of the formation and walked in another direction. He sensed that his master Hao Ren was fighting with someone. Hao Ren's opponent was the Divine Emperor. After 100 years of cultivation, Hao Ren had already entered the Half-Emperor realm. He was only a step away from the 9-Yang Emperor realm. In the past 100 years, he had deliberately slowed down his cultivation time to consolidate the realms that he had continuously increased. He was preparing to become an immortal. The Emperor realm was not his final destination. This was what his disciple, Yang Wu, had said. Generally speaking, there was no suspense when a half-immortal realm Divine Emperor fought against a half-immortal realm Divine Emperor. However, Hao Ren was still able to resist. This showed that he was extraordinary. Hao Ren, you inherited my heavenly god arts. You should have led your disciples to pledge allegiance to me. However, you repeatedly opposed me. You overestimated your capabilities. The Divine Emperor's every move was emitting power. It kept suppressing Hao Ren, forcing him to retreat step by step. If you, Heavenly God Emperor, didn't act so tyrannically, you might have a Divine Master's grand disciple by now. Unfortunately, the one who should regret is you. Hao Ren replied. His fists tore apart heaven and earth. He replied to the Divine Emperor. His realm was half-emperor, but his battle prowess wasn't inferior to Emperor realm experts. In these years, Yang Wu had spent a lot of top-grade items on him. Moreover, his innate talent was incomparably shocking. Fighting above his realm wasn't a big deal. Unfortunately, the Divine Emperor comprehended a trace of immortal Tao power. The power in his palms was incomparably condensed. It was unknown how many times stronger than before. He angrily smashed down and shattered Hao Ren's fist. Hao Ren had a broken immortal weapon to resist, but he still felt incomparably strenuous. Will I regret this? The Divine Emperor replied. Immortal energy lingered around his body. He looked abnormally domineering. His strength was much stronger than before. As long as he continued to accumulate, he would become an immortal one day. This was what his son-in-law Kuan Mingzi said. Palm after palm fell down. Hao Ren's immortal weapon was smashed away. Even if he wanted to escape, he couldn't. The palm imprints were everywhere, forcing him to fight with his life on the line. Astral Fist Tao. Hao Ren was the same as the Divine Emperor. He had touched upon a trace of immortal Tao power. Even if it wasn't as profound as the Divine Emperor's, he could still display extremely powerful battle prowess. His fists turned into galaxies. They continuously exploded, but he couldn't break through the palm imprint's power. Bang! Hao Ren's body was smashed into the ground. Who knew how many bones in his body were broken? Blood continuously seeped out. He was still inferior to the Divine Emperor. The Divine Emperor walked over in the air. He angrily stomped down on Hao Ren, stomping him into the ground. He said condescendingly, "You made an enemy of us from the very beginning. I will cripple you and send you to Yang Wu. I don't know if he will regret dealing with my heavenly god temple. You think too much. Even if I die, I won't let you have your way." Hao Ren unyieldingly replied. Divine diagrams flew out from his body. He wanted to shake off the Divine Emperor. Unfortunately, the Divine Emperor remained unmoved. He sent him flying with a palm strike. The power under his foot increased, wanting to directly cripple him. You deserve to die, Divine Emperor. Just as Hao Ren was about to be crippled, Yang Wu finally arrived. Chapter 1827. Hao Ren was Yang Wu's master. Even though he had awakened the memories of his past life, he was still extremely respectful to Hao Ren and did his best to help Hao Ren reach the next level. Now, Hao Ren was being trampled on the ground and was about to die. Yang Wu felt extremely uncomfortable. Before he arrived, the Nether Ice-Winged Blade had already slashed out. The Nether Ice-Winged Blade was now comparable to a top-grade Emperor weapon. With immortal energy lingering around it, its destructive power was extremely terrifying. It tore open space and slashed at the Divine Emperor. The Divine Emperor's reaction was extremely fast. When he sensed something was wrong, he dodged to the side, but his flesh was still cut open. He narrowed his eyes and opened his heavenly eye. He discovered the nether ice-winged blade continued to slash at him. He struck out with his heavenly god palm, but it was a pity that it couldn't hit the nether ice-winged blade. It turned around and slashed at his head. The Divine Emperor's figure changed. A shield appeared out of nowhere and blocked the nether ice-winged blade. He raised his other hand and slashed out with the blade, wanting to kill Howren first. However, Yang Wu didn't give him the chance at all. He had already rushed over, blocking this blade in Howren's place. Moreover, he sent out a heavy punch. Domineering immortal Tao power flowed, oppressing the space and blasting the Divine Emperor's body. The Divine Emperor blocked with his palm, but was also forced back by this punch. Yang Wu pulled Howren up and said, "Master, are you alright? I won't die yet. Don't worry about me." Howren adjusted his breathing and replied. The Divine Emperor's immortal murdering blade appeared in his hand. He pointed at Yang Wu and shouted, "Divine Lord Wu Ho, do you dare to fight me?" His voice was extremely imposing, startling all directions. Many creatures looked over from afar. Yang Wu became Divine Lord Wu Ho because his alchemy skills were unparalleled. His battle prowess was also powerful, but could he compare to a veteran emperor-level powerhouse? "Even if you didn't invite me to fight, I would still kill you," Yang Wu replied domineeringly. He raised his fist and threw out a straight punch. It was the simplest and most direct, but also the most domineering punch. This was like a punch that had been tempered thousands of times, exploding out at the fastest speed. It contained boundless martial will, so who could block it easily? The Divine Emperor also became serious. He no longer acted like he did with Howren. The power of divine chains intertwined in his palms, and strands of immortal energy were absorbed. A heavenly god palm blasted out, shattering heaven and earth. Fist against palm, it was all about who was stronger. When the power exploded, waves of power rippled out, raising a cloud of dust. Yang Wu and the Divine Emperor remained where they were, and neither could do anything to the other. "Your strength is so strong," Divine Emperor said in shock. "There are even stronger ones," Yang Wu replied as he stepped into the air. Every step he took caused power to flow, and the space seemed to explode. A shadow of a black tortoise appeared behind him. This was the Black Tortoise step. One step at a time. It was as if the Divine Emperor was not facing Yang Wu, but a huge black tortoise. He waved his palm and continuously slapped out against the heavens, wanting to overturn the sky. Yang Wu ignored his attacks. His aura continued to rise, and a lot of immortal energy gathered toward him. He was like an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. He said faintly, "You have only just comprehended the immortal Tao. How can you compare to me? Didn't your good son-in-law tell me to scram as far as I can when I see you?" The power of each step was more terrifying than the previous one. It crushed all the palm power of the Divine Emperor. When it reached the sixth step, the Divine Emperor was forced to retreat. When the seventh step landed, the Divine Emperor felt as if an immortal weapon was pressing down on him. He could no longer take it. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. A dignified sub-immortal was crushed by Yang Wu just like that. When the surrounding living beings saw this scene, they were all so shocked that they could not speak. The Divine Emperor did not escape. Instead, he roared, "Yang Wu!" In the next moment, the immortal slaying sword shot out. An earth-shattering sword light soared into the sky and slashed toward Yang Wu. The incomparably domineering sword light broke through Yang Wu's footsteps and continued to counterattack. The Divine Emperor unleashed a wisp of immortal might. Such strength could suppress all Emperor-level experts. In front of Yang Wu, could he gain any advantage? Yang Wu's figure turned into a storm. The wind god's leg turned into the power of the immortal Tao. The storm that was like a natural disaster shattered the sword and continued to suppress the Divine Emperor. The Divine Emperor rushed up, and the power of the 9 suns erupted. Other than the immortal slaying sword slashing wildly, there was also the power of his innate talent. The domineering power caused the world to lose its color. A large amount of immortal chi gathered over. It was time to see who was stronger. Yang Wu merged with the world and became one with the heavens. He was like a ruler. The true god Yuyen's spear in his hand stabbed down furiously, shattering the sword light inch by inch. The black tortoise battle armor on his body dissipated the Divine Emperor's innate talent attack, so it could not hurt him at all. Just as he was about to charge down, a divine map swept out, wanting to refine Yang Wu into it. Yang Wu did not take it seriously. The true god Yuyen's spear continued to expand and landed heavily on the divine map, wanting to tear it apart. Bang! After withstanding the power of his attack, the divine diagram became dim and lifeless. It was also at this moment that the Divine Emperor appeared behind Yang Wu and slashed down with the god-slaying sword again. Immortal Burial Slash. The Divine Emperor cultivated immortal skills and could greatly increase his combat strength. This move, Immortal Burial, could kill immortals. There was only one sword falling from the sky. There was nothing that could block the sharpness of this sword. It seems that your cheap son-in-law taught you many immortal skills, but it can't change anything, Yang Wu said. The true god Yuyen's spear once again swung out. The spear roared out like a dragon and collided with the sword. Boom! Boom! The power of a sub-immortal. Whose power was stronger? The dragon's shadow was destroyed by the sword, but the sword move continued to press down. Yang Wu, go to hell! The Divine Emperor revealed a crazy expression. He wanted nothing more than to kill Yang Wu immediately. The Xianpan shield appeared in Yang Wu's hand and completely blocked the sword. A figure rushed out from between his eyebrows and a shocking fist swung out. A large amount of immortal chi surged over and the fist force quickly hit the Divine Emperor's chest. He did not even have the chance to react before his body flew backward. Pooh! The Divine Emperor only felt that this fist almost took his life. His divine body was destroyed. Why is he so strong? The Divine Emperor roared unwillingly. Borrowing the power of this fist, he retreated backwards. He comprehended the immortal Tao and could be considered a sub-immortal. However, he still lost. Yang Wu's Moon Soul Battle Body soared into the sky. He held an ordinary divine spear in his hand and threw it towards the Divine Emperor. In this immortal river, many martial artists were suppressed by the immortal Tao. Only Yang Wu could ignore all of this. Just as the divine spear was about to land on the back of the Divine Emperor's head, a whip shadow appeared and whipped the spear away. Divine Lord Wu Ho, you really live up to your reputation, that person said and quickly left with the Divine Emperor. Canned Sung, the palace master of ruined Immortal Hall? Yang Wu muttered as he looked at the person who left with the Divine Emperor. He did not chase after them. Victory and defeat did not need to be decided here. Are we letting them go just like that? Haoren asked Yang Wu. Dealing with them is something that will happen sooner or later. There is a lot of immortal chi here. We can also find immortal crystals and strive to increase our strength. Yang Wu replied. Then he said, Master, you cultivate here. I will help you find the item to build the 9th yang. All right. When I enter the Emperor realm, I will not necessarily be afraid of the Divine Emperor. Haoren replied. Thus, the master and disciple moved together and began to search for immortal opportunities. Yang Wu found a place for Haoren that was like the Milky Way. It was extremely suitable for his master to cultivate. He opened the immortal Tao there to help his master cultivate. There were many immortal crystals here. He believed that it would not be long before his master could break through to the 9 yang realm. And here, he also found an immortal starstone. It was an immortal-grade material that could be used to build the ninth Yang. After Yang Wu personally refined it, he handed it to his master. He continued to search for other immortal opportunities. Go to the third floor. After Yang Wu circled the second floor, he found that this place was of limited use to him. He continued to head to the depth. The third level wasn't easy to enter. It was isolated by the power of the barrier, and there was also a half-immortal level creature guarding it. It was a red-crowned crane. He was already very old, and seemed to be guarding the last Pure Land. You can go back. Someone has already arrived before you. There is already a candidate for the inheritance. The immortal crane looked at Yang Wu and replied. Yang Wu frowned and said, "Who went in? This has nothing to do with you. You can go. The immortal opportunities ahead are enough for you to cultivate." The immortal crane said. "What if I must go in?" Yang Wu asked. He could vaguely sense who was inside. Other than Kuan Mingzi, there was probably no one who could open this barrier. If Kuan Mingzi's strength increased and became an immortal faster than him, it would be quite troublesome. "You can't go in," the immortal crane said with certainty. "Then let's try," Yang Wu said. He raised the Yu Yen True God spear and stabbed at the immortal crane. He did not use his full strength in this attack. It was just a feint. A look of disdain flashed across the immortal crane's face. It flapped its wings and a power of slaughter swept out, erasing Yang Wu's attack. At the same time, an immortal Dao power slashed towards Yang Wu's neck. This was the power of a half-immortal. It was even stronger than a god emperor. It was infinitely close to the immortal grade. Unfortunately, the immortal Dao in this space was incomplete. Without a complete immortal Dao, he could not advance further. The Xianpan shield appeared in Yang Wu's hand. After blocking this attack, the Moon Soul battle body rushed out. The divine weapon Electric Fork appeared and attacked the immortal crane. He didn't show any mercy in this attack. The explosive power was extremely powerful. The power of the chaotic immortal thunder turned into an electric fork and wreaked havoc. There was also the power of the immortal Dao lingering in it, which scared the red-crowned crane. It flew up to dodge the attack, but unexpectedly, Yang Wu took advantage of this moment to blast the barrier and opened a crack. His figure flashed into it and disappeared. Damn it! The immortal crane realized that it had been tricked. It shouted and turned to charge towards the barrier. Bang! It did not break the barrier in the first moment and was bounced back. It was too old and its vitality was too weak. It was no longer as strong as it was in the past. It attacked continuously. After many times, it barely managed to enter. Thief, I will eat you alive. Chapter 1828. The third level of the Celestial River was different from the previous two levels. The space here was much narrower, and there was a cave dwelling in the innermost part of the Celestial River. The celestial chi here was also the thickest. This was the cave dwelling of an immortal, and also the original owner of this world. He had already died, and left his inheritance here, waiting for the fated person to come and take it. After Kuan Mingzi entered the Celestial River, he didn't stop all the way to the third level. Relying on the abilities of his previous life, he opened the barrier and came to this cave dwelling, absorbing the thick celestial chi here. As long as his cultivation speed was faster than Yang Wu's, and he killed Yang Wu in the future, he would become the #1 person in the realm of the gods. He was an immortal king in his previous life. In this life, his cultivation speed wasn't slow at all, but compared to Yang Wu, he was always half a step behind. He was very unwilling to accept this. There weren't many things left in the cave dwelling. There was only an immortal art and a bottle of immortal pills. This kind of inheritance could make any living being in the realm of the gods go crazy, but for Kuan Mingzi, it was still too shabby. It's just a small immortal's cave dwelling. Kuan Mingzi put these things away and said disappointedly. He paused for a moment, then said, "These immortal pills can help Song Tsang and the others recover some of their strength, But for me, other than increasing my strength a little, it doesn't have much meaning." As he spoke, he swallowed an immortal pill, and then crazily digested the power of the immortal pill. Before he could finish digesting the power of the immortal pill, Yang Wu had already entered. "It really is you." After Yang Wu saw Kunmingzi, he cried out in surprise, and the netherworld ice-winged blade slashed towards his opponent's head. The two of them were old enemies. When they met, they could only end it by fighting to the death. Kunmingzi's senses were extraordinary, especially towards the power of ice. He soared into the sky, and an immortal weapon appeared in his hand. The power of his whole body exploded, and he turned into a ray of light, stabbing towards Yang Wu. "I'll finish you off here," Kunmingzi said with a thick killing intent. It had to be said that Kunmingzi's strength had reached the Emperor realm after swallowing the immortal pill. Moreover, he had been cultivating diligently all these years. Apart from the condensation of the immortal Tao, he was not any slower than Yang Wu. The combat power that erupted from him made Yang Wu feel a great threat, forcing Yang Wu to retreat from the cave abode. Kunmingzi chased after Yang Wu like a shadow. The ice-cold qi that filled the sky wanted to freeze Yang Wu into ice. Furthermore, there was also that merciless Tao of killing, not showing any mercy. At the same time, an old crane flew over from behind Yang Wu. Its beak was as sharp as a divine weapon, and a single peck could destroy a mountain. Yang Wu twisted his body, and the black tortoise battle armor on his body rotated in reverse, narrowly dodging the pincer attack from the front and back. Chaos lightning erupted from his body, and he forced Kunmingzi and the red-crowned crane to retreat. Kill! Yang Wu also did not want to leave a scourge like Kunmingzi alive. An electric fork appeared in his hand, and a field of electric forks wildly wreaked havoc, enveloping Kunmingzi and the red-crowned crane within. The boundless killing power made one's heart tremble. Kunmingzi relied on the power of the immortal pill to trigger the immortal Tao in all directions. He continuously slashed down with his sword, and did not even bother to speak nonsense. He would definitely not let go of the opportunity to kill Yang Wu. Yang Wu's background in his previous life was too shocking. If he could not kill him, he would be the only one to die, even if he returned to the immortal world in the future. The two reincarnated immortals clashed together, and even the red-crowned crane had no room to intervene. "Young master, your sword is not enough. I have an immortal weapon to help you." The red-crowned crane shouted, and immortal qi lingered around it. Soon, an immortal weapon broke through the air and flew towards Kunmingzi's position. Kunmingzi reached out and grabbed the immortal weapon in his hand. Like a tiger that had grown wings, he once again fought with Yang Wu. Waves of immortal light burst out, and the strength was unparalleled. The two of them exchanged blows repeatedly, and used different immortal technique. If an emperor-level expert was here, he might not be able to withstand it. This was a confrontation of the immortal Tao. Yang Wu was an invincible existence in his previous life, and he cultivated the skills of various sections. Kunmingzi also had a strong background. He was the young palace master of a force in the immortal world, and he cultivated a unique cultivation method. He was in the immortal king realm. It was hard to say who was stronger and who was weaker. Kunmingzi wanted to suppress Yang Wu. He shouted, "Today I will kill you. When I return to the immortal world, I will be the #1 war god. You can have such extravagant hopes in your next life." Yang Wu replied. He walked out with the moon's soul battle body. Endless immortal qi gathered and broke through Kunmingzi's attack. He attacked Kunmingzi from left and right. When the red-crowned crane saw that Kunmingzi was forced to retreat, it was afraid that he was not a match for Yang Wu. It spat out a seal from its mouth and suppressed Yang Wu. This was an immortal seal that contained the will of its master when he was alive. It had the complete power of the immortal Tao. Yang Wu completely released the electric trident and blocked the immortal seal. His hands kept forming seals, and he blasted out an imposing aura, sending Kuan-Mingzi flying and vomiting blood. Yang Wu's combat strength would always be above Kuan-Mingzi's. Kuan-Mingzi retreated with injuries, but he did not leave. He said faintly, "Yang Wu, let's stop fighting. Think of a way to leave this place. Returning to the immortal world is the most important thing." Yang Wu's moon soul battle body blocked the immortal seal. His true body faced Kuan-Mingzi and said, "I will return to the immortal world with my own strength. You don't have to go back. Why do you keep going against me? Is it because of that secular woman, Meng Bingxue?" Kuan-Mingzi asked. "She is one of the reasons. The main reason is that you are too sinister and unscrupulous. You will only be a scourge if I leave you alive," Yang Wu said as he closed in on Kuan-Mingzi. His fist was like a dragon and a tiger. He punched out once again. The power of the immortal Tao in this world gathered together. It was truly powerful. Kuan-Mingzi swung his immortal sword. Immortal Tao lingered around him as he slashed down with all his might. Heaven and earth split open, but he still could not break through this fist. He borrowed the force of the rebound and directly retreated from this world. "Yang Wu, after this, I will not show mercy to your Wu Ho gang. Just wait to become a sinner for all eternity," Kuan-Mingzi said ruthlessly. He escaped. The immortal crane did not continue to fight to the death with Yang Wu. It took back the immortal seal and followed Kuan-Mingzi. Yang Wu's true body merged with his doppelganger. He let out a sigh of relief. "If we continue fighting, I won't be any better off. Looks like that guy got some benefit." After he adjusted his breathing, he began to search everything here. This was an immortal's cave, so there would definitely be real immortal items nearby. Soon, he found immortal herbs, immortal flowers, and an immortal crystal vein. He collected all of them. Kuan-Mingzi only cared about the inheritance in the immortal's cave. He did not have time to collect these immortal items. Yang Wu entered the immortal's cave and swept through it once again. After he found that there was nothing left, he left this place. He was still worried that the others would be attacked by Kuan-Mingzi and the others. Even though Little Hay would protect them, he still did not feel at ease. In this land of the immortal river, there were many immortal relics and subimmortal items. To the living beings who came here, they were extremely rare. However, to Yang Wu and Kuan-Mingzi, they were not that important. Yang Wu returned to the side of the lotus pond. There were no living beings nearby to disturb his two wives' cultivation. He once again entered the lotus in the center to cultivate. Yang Wu retrieved an immortal herb from the Qian Kuan space and refined it. This was the immortal form herb for tempering one's body. After so many years, he had made some progress in tempering his body. However, it was still far from the immortal body. This immortal form herb could completely strengthen his god-level body below the immortal realm. It would not be difficult for him to reach the Great Circle stage. At that time, he would be able to contain more immortal Tao. He would be more confident in opening the 9th or even the 10th Sun Time Pass. The various fights for opportunities also stopped. Everyone was quietly comprehending the immortal techniques and immortal techniques here. They were trying to understand the immortal Tao. This batch of living beings who had not died had great gains. They had come into contact with the tip of the iceberg in the immortal realm. It was far more extraordinary than the immortal realm. Only by becoming an immortal could one live forever. 10 years in the immortal river passed in the blink of an eye. It was about to flow to an unknown place. All living beings had to leave this place as soon as possible. Yang Wu brought his two wives who had broken through to the next realm and quickly left this place. The other living beings did not delay. They all left the immortal river. They could not help but lament that time had passed too quickly. They did not have the time to break through to a higher realm. Everyone returned to their respective factions to continue cultivating. Yang Wu, on the other hand, began to try to concoct immortal pills. Immortal pills were countless times harder to concoct than other pills. Those who did not comprehend the immortal Tao would not be able to concoct immortal pills. He was in a hurry to do this because he wanted to raise his realm to the peak below the immortal realm. As long as he stood at the peak of the immortal realm, he would be able to protect a pure land. While he was doing this, Song Tsang and the God Emperor were leading their armies to attack Wuho Gang and their allies without caring about the cost. They didn't give Yang Wu any chance to catch his breath. Quan Mingzi could emotionlessly cultivate in seclusion. However, could Yang Wu just sit there and watch as his men were destroyed? When Sun Do launched his attack on ruined Immortal Hall, Yang Wu already knew that this day would come. Fortunately, Sun Do entered the broken Immortal River and completely broke through to the Immortal Emperor realm. This saved him 100 years of cultivation. Yang Wu's master Hao Rin also entered the Immortal Emperor realm. The two of them were powerful existences that could fight those above their level. With Yang Wu's imparting of the Immortal Tao, even if they did not become half-immortals, they could still display the strength of a half-immortal. They could defend against ruined Immortal Hall's attack. However, Quan Mingzi gave the immortal pills to those crippled immortals. Many of them returned to the half-immortal realm. This was the existence that gave Wuho Gang the greatest pressure. These half-immortals could display a trace of the immortal Tao. This was not something other immortal Emperor realm beings could compare to. Left with no choice, Yu also stopped cultivating in seclusion. Holding the Thunder Hammer and Lightning Trident, she directly charged to the front line to defend against ruined Immortal Hall's attack. This gave Yang Wu some time to concoct the Immortal Pill. Concocting the Immortal Pill was easier said than done. After Yang Wu laid down the array, he gathered the Xian Qi of heaven and earth. After crazily concocting for 49 days, he gathered his Immortal Foundation and Immortal Tao power into the medicinal cauldron. He was not sure if he could concoct the Immortal Pill. If I can't concoct the Immortal Body Pill, I can only wait until I return to the Immortal World. Yang Wu almost exhausted his mental energy to complete all the steps of concocting the Immortal Pill. He urgently wanted to increase his battle strength. This Immortal Pill was extremely important to him. After concocting the Immortal Pill, there were no thunderclouds in the sky. Yang Wu's heart couldn't help but sink. Could it be that the Immortal World does not exist? Is there really no way to concoct the Immortal Pill? When he opened the cauldron lid, his pupils contracted slightly. Chapter 1829. In the Endless Void. Dragons and phoenixes pulled the war chariot, breaking through layers of space and walking in the endless void, as if they were looking for something. In the war chariot, an elegant man's eyes flowed with an inexplicable light, as if he could see through everything in the void. After an unknown period of time, he waved his hand, and the war chariot stopped. Looking at the galaxy in the distance, he vaguely caught a glimpse of a huge broken star, and he revealed an incomparably excited expression. I finally found the human world. My 100 years of searching were not in vain. Young Hall Master, did you really find it? Beside him, a beautiful and sexy woman asked. Yes, this is the galaxy of the human world, and it has an incomparably strong sense of repulsion. It's not easy to get close, and we have to set up some means or suppress the divine power below the divine realm to be able to get close. The man replied. Beside him, someone said, Young Hall Master, we all have the void formation that leads to the human world. Why do we need you to personally determine its location? This was the question that all of them wanted to know. Although there are many ways to directly descend to the human world, they are all in the Saint Realm, and they have no way of knowing the exact location of the human world. Since I came personally, I naturally have a big plan, and now it's time for you to contribute your strength. I have a sky-peaking immortal array here. As long as I set up a corner of it and peek at a portion of fate, we can enter the human world. The man revealed an incomparably fanatical expression. This sky-peaking immortal array was obtained from the ruins of a void immortal realm, and it was a heaven-turning immortal array that required a considerable price to set up. Now that they had locked onto the human world's location, as long as they peeked at a trace of fate, the rest would be easy. And this man, who was called Young Hall Master, was the head disciple of the Void Emperor Socration. The human world was divided into a total of 81 worlds, and it was a broken world. Therefore, in these years, the living beings in the human world had reached the divine realm, and it was even more difficult to reach the realm of 9 suns. The great Tao was incomplete, and the chi of creation of heaven and earth was incomplete. According to legend, as long as one obtained the power of the mortal realm's world spirit, they would be able to ascend to immortality in a single step and become an immortal of the mortal realm. Their magic power would reach the heavens, and they would be able to protect an entire realm. They would be even more powerful than the immortals and immortal kings of the immortal realm. For countless years, who knew how many experts had wanted to do this? Even the high and mighty immortal-level creatures would have such a desire. However, there was an eternal power separating the realms, preventing the destruction of the living beings in the realms. This was the law of the universe. Whoever wanted to go against the heavens had to ask the will of the heavens, and the world spirit belonged to the will of the heavens. Yang Wu had obtained the destiny of the human realm and was recognized by the human realm as a human. This was the thought of those big powers who wanted to steal his destiny to get closer to the human realm. Once they entered the human realm, they didn't think too much about whether they could obtain the power of the world spirit. As long as there was a trace of opportunity, those top experts wouldn't let it go. This was the only shortcut to becoming an immortal. During these years, there were people who walked through 72 of the 81 realms. There were still 9 realms left before they finished walking through the human realm. And this person was the leader of the evil sky sect, Xie Tian, Yang Wu's eldest son. The current Xie Tian was like the sun in the sky in the various realms. He swept through the experts of the various realms and became the number 1 person in the divine realm. Yang Zixing, who used to be his sworn enemy, was already at the true God realm and had hope of becoming an emperor. As for him, he was still in the divine realm, so the gap was not small. But he had never thought about this. He had crossed the 72 realms just to do one thing, and that was to revive his mother. Now there is only the last and strongest realm left, the 9 realms. As long as I sweep through them and become the number 1 person in the human realm, I can obtain a unique destiny and revive my mother. Xie Tian said with incomparable desire. There was a middle-aged man by Xie Tian's side who was not weaker than him. After all these years, he had never left Xie Tian's side. Outsiders thought that this person was Xie Tian's shadow, but they didn't know that this person was his grandfather. In the past, Yang Wu had returned to the transcendent realm to imprison Xie Tian. When Xie Tian escaped, Yang Zhenan was also among them. Someone had used a heaven-defying method to help Xie Tian leave the transcendent realm and descend to another realm. After all these years, Yang Zhenan finally understood Xie Tian's slaughter over the years. He was aiming for the supreme position because he wanted to save his mother. What a filial child! Yang Zhenan said in his heart. Grandfather, the remaining experts of the 9 realms are like clouds, and there are even some in the true God realm. Do you think I can sweep through them? Xie Tian looked at Yang Zhenan and asked. Yang Zhenan replied, Your strength has already surpassed the true God realm, so sweeping through them is inevitable. Only, can you be merciful to them and not take their lives? I also want to keep them alive, but I won't allow it. Xie Tian replied and then added, If I don't kill them, I won't be able to obtain their destiny. In the next moment, he entered the land of the profound dream realm's first dynasty. There was an old emperor there who was the strongest and was known as the number 1 person in the profound dream realm. He had once dreamed of a realm, and when he woke up, he was already a God realm expert. After all these years, he had reached the peak of the God realm and was working hard to build a God palace. The profound dream realm was once ranked 9th, but after the transcendent realm rose, it naturally fell down the rankings. The old emperor who was sleeping in his dream walked out and welcomed Xie Tian, who didn't hide his killing intent. He asked, "Your Excellency's killing intent is so strong, what do you want?" This old emperor had a crown on his head and was wearing a yellow robe. He held the royal court sword in his hand and had a shocking aura. If it wasn't for the fact that he could sense that the two people in front of him were not weaker than him, he would have already slashed them with the royal court sword. The imperial palace was an important place. How could others fly freely in the air? Nothing. I heard that you are the number one person in the profound dream realm, so I want to borrow your head. Xie Tian looked at the old emperor and said, "You are not from the profound dream realm?" The old emperor asked in surprise. "No." "Then can you tell me where you are from?" "I don't kill nameless people." Transcendent Realms, Xie Tian. On this day, above the imperial palace of the profound dream realm, demonic energy filled the sky and an incomparably terrifying battle broke out. The old emperor who was known as the number one person had his head crushed by an evil young man. Those people who wanted to support the old emperor were stopped by the middle-aged man beside the youth. This middle-aged man did not kill anyone, but he secretly thought in his heart, "If there is a day that Xie Tian can atone for his sins, I am willing to take all his sins for him." God Realm. Yang Wu opened the cauldron. It was a tribulation-free pill and there was only one. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had always thought that his alchemy skills were unparalleled. Moreover, he had already converted the immortal path, so it wasn't hard to refine immortal pills. Now it seemed that the suppression of heaven and earth was too obvious. With the immortal path incomplete, it was very difficult to refine the thunder tribulation-free pill. One tribulation-free pill is enough. Yang Wu held the elixir that was filled with awe-inspiring immortal qi and muttered. Then, he instructed Lu Ji to continue supervising the defense and entered a state of seclusion. Now, Du Shaojing had also entered the Emperor realm. She and Qua Fu were heading to the front lines to fight the God Emperor. Yang Wu couldn't stop her. He had already taught her how to strengthen her immortal roots. Even if she couldn't win, it was no problem for her to escape. As long as the Hall of Immortals was stopped and he had time to break through, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, it was clear that the Hall of Immortals didn't want Yang Wu to become stronger. They sent 3 sub-immortals to the Medicine God Palace to cause trouble. Destroy the Medicine God Mountain. These 3 sub-immortals were crippled immortals. After gathering a trace of immortal path in the broken immortal river, they could unleash the power of a sub-immortal. They worked together to activate the 3 sub-immortal weapons and attacked the Medicine God Mountain. The sky was filled with immortal light, and the sun and moon were enveloped. Strange phenomena appeared and destroyed mountains and rivers. This kind of surprise attack was the most difficult to guard against. However, with the immortal formation set up by array experts like Yang Wu and Little He, it had already noticed their arrival. The 9 great palaces on the Medicine God Mountain erupted with divine light at the same time, forming a huge immortal formation that enveloped the Medicine God Mountain and the surrounding cities, protecting all living beings within. An Emperor Realm cultivator soared into the sky from the Medicine God Mountain. With the power of the formation, he fought with the 3 sub-immortals. The Medicine God Palace is an important place. You can't destroy it as you wish. Get lost. Since they're here, don't let them leave. Activate the formation and suppress them. The Divine Master has long been prepared for this. They actually dared to come. There were 6 more Emperor-level creatures in the Medicine God Palace Hall. They had all broken through with the help of the Emperor Palace Pill. They were stationed in different directions, and there were many divine veins here, which could increase their strength endlessly. The heaven-defying attack was like a tidal wave that sent the 3 sub-immortals flying. Immortal formation. The 3 sub-immortals were extremely shocked. They had thought that the Medicine God Mountain would set up a powerful formation, but they didn't expect Yang Wu to be so generous. He directly used the 9 palaces as the core of the formation to form a powerful immortal formation. There were also countless divine veins and 6 Emperor Realm cultivators guarding it. Even if they recovered a trace of immortal path power, what could they do? The 6 Emperor Realm cultivators soared into the sky. Each of them carried the monstrous power of the formation, forming an earth-shattering might that covered the sky and earth as they charged toward the 3 sub-immortals. These 3 sub-immortals had also come prepared. They formed their own formations and even released immortal-level formation diagrams, boosting them with even more powerful immortal Tao power. They collided with the 6 Emperor-level expert. The sky was filled with immortal light and boundless divine power. Wave after wave of shocking explosions rang out incessantly. The destruction caused was incomparably shocking. The living beings below only felt that the earth was shaking and the mountains were shaking. They felt as if they would collapse at any moment. They didn't know how long the fierce battle lasted. The power of the 9 palaces erupted at the same time, forming an even more terrifying power. It directly destroyed the sub-immortal formation diagram and sent the 3 of them flying into the sky. Their bodies almost collapsed. They fled the Medicine God Mountain in a sorry state. They were afraid that if they were a little slower, they would have died an unnatural death. "Since you're here, why are you still running?" A figure quietly appeared in front of them and said,